Zhang. Oh, roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Peng.
Here.
Mr. Romano.
Here.
Mr. Shi.
Here.
Ms. White. Mr. Mohan Patel.
Present.
Mr. Baral Patel. Mr. Schneider. Mr. Rivera.
Here.
Mr. Vishal Patel.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Opening statement?
Yes. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, C-231 Sunshine Law, copies of this public meeting notice were sent to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger on January 3rd and February 24th, 2023. Members of the public may participate at regular meetings in accordance with the bylaws of the board and applicable state regulations.
Okay, we're going to adjourn to the privilege session. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act's Chapter 231 PL 1975, the Edison Township Board of Education will adjourn to a confidential session for the purpose of interviewing superintendent search firms. We are expected to come out in about an hour, hopefully. Okay. Let's go. Motion to adjourn to the
Motion.
session.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
See you in a few.
We're reconvening. Sorry, it took us a little bit longer than expected. We're going to do the presentation now, starting with Edison High. Mr. Charlie Ross.
Now, I always have to thank the Board of Education for this absolutely fantastic and most modern of auditoriums. And one of the things that we brought it in is to create student events during the day. Today, we had almost 1,000 students come in to see our African American History Month Assembly presented by our Umoja Black Student Union. So I'd like to bring up our president, Ms. Jade Boateng, to say a few words about what it is that we did today in our auditorium. Ms. Boateng?
Good evening, Board President Ms. Peng, Board Vice President Mr. Ramona, Mr. V. Patel, Mr. B. Patel, Mr. Schreiner, Mr. Rivera, Mr. Shi, Ms. White, and Mr. Alderali, and Edison residents. My name is Jay Voting, and I am the president of Edison's High School very own Black Student Union / Umoja, which translates to unity. The past leaders of Umoja chose our club's name to represent the unity of Black culture and Black souls in our beauty. Today, you are about to learn and witness in pure Black excellence. This year's theme for our third annual Black History Month Assembly was Black Art. The assembly was created to showcase our Black excellence, and as a whole, not only within EHS, but the world. Today, you will be shown Black art within EHS, which includes a portrait of Malcolm X, our dancers from EHS Dance Ensemble, and our dance team as shown on the screens. And the EHS diamonds right there are showing the Black people and how we express our emotion with every step. Our hair shows showcase the many hairstyles within Black culture, showing audiences the power of our Black hair, and poems displaying just how powerful and important our voices are. This year's Black History Assembly was a full-scale production that required a lot of research, planning, and rehearsals. However, we achieved this on a grand scale, of course, with the help of our advisors, Ms. Johnson, Ms. Seduna, and of course, Mr. Ross. Umoja's Black History Assembly is always a hit, and it's an example of what makes Edison High great. I hope today you leave here inspired and see the importance of Black culture within our schools. I'm thankful for the opportunity to speak here today, and thank you for the time and continued support of our school. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you, Ms. Boateng, and again, thanks to all the advisors and our students. We're so into it. It's just another example of how the Supports for the Arts create these programs that bring everyone together. Another great thing, I just can't stop talking about my state championship football team. And one of the awesome things that happened this year was after we came back from 14 points down to defeat North Brunswick and then won the state championship, that Monday, 11 of our varsity athletes, rocking their red and their gold, which we always have pride for, got to make a commercial for Applebee's, for which they were paid SAG rates and are getting residuals, believe it or not, undisclosed amounts, we won't talk. But I just wanted everybody to see this commercial. Now, this commercial aired in the national championship NCAA football game, NFL playoff games, and a lot of the different football games that took place in January. If you got to watch in the beginning, take a look at the shrimp. You know, you can eat good in the neighborhood later, but check out the red and the gold and our students. So, next video, Mr. McDonald.
Applebee's All You Can Eat is back for just $14.99. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
So I just wanted, again, I have to thank our athletic secretary, Ms. Kelly O'Boyle, who got the first call, and she said, this sounds like something Mr. Ross would get into. And again, thank the parents for allowing their students. And again, it was shot down on Route 1, and they got back a little late for practice that the coach wasn't too happy about. But we ended up, again, winning that championship. And a shout out to my JV and varsity cheer teams that also won states over the weekend. Again, that's what's great about Edison High. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. We're going to start the second presentation. DMR Architects.
Good evening, my name is Pradeep Kapoor. I am principal in charge in DMR Architects, and we'll be presenting the 3 projects we are working on with the school districts at this point. First one is Herbert Hoover Middle School. We are doing a gym addition, and then after that we'll show J.P. Stephen classroom addition, and then the third one will be Thomas Jefferson Middle School gym addition and front entrance. So I'll turn it over to Michael. Michael here is our designer who has worked on the presentation. So he'll present and we'll answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you guys for your time, and thank you residents here and everyone in attendance. So the first thing, like Pradeep had said, we're going to be starting with is Herbert Hoover School. And just to orient you guys, right now we have a 3D model with a site plan. And if you're someone who's coming into Herbert Hoover, currently you're going to enter in on the right-hand side on Jackson Street, or Jackson Ave rather, and you're going to come into this drop-off area. So right now, this school, it's a 1- and 2-story existing school. And so our addition is in the Plan South area, where we're proposing to connect into that existing corridor and existing school and propose an auxiliary gym space that also functions not only as a gym, but a cafeteria to help support the school. On the left-hand side, you can see we've reconfigured the parking. The existing parking there is currently 26 spaces, and we've reconfigured it to 17, so we have a net loss of around 9 spaces. But we are also able to add in this rather large gym to help accommodate for that additional square footage and program for the students. So now I'll bring you down to the gym itself, and the new addition is on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, I think it's really important for the design of the exterior that we took inspiration from the existing school. As you could see on the existing school on the left, we have this really beautiful red and orange blended brick, and we have a crown on top of the existing school and gym over on the left-hand side. And that crown that's on the top of the existing school is accented by this really nice charcoal band. And so we've reimagined both the blended red and orange brick and the charcoal band in our own way on the right-hand side for our new auxiliary gym. And so what we've done is we've turned that black accent and charcoal accent into the black brick that's on the base of it that also acts as an accent piece within the auxiliary gym. And on the top, we've reimagined the crown as this translucent panel that allows for a natural diffused light to come into the space and allow for a plethora of natural light to come in during the day and at nighttime. So the crown serves as this natural diffused light to come in and support that auxiliary gym. And we were able to differentiate the difference between the auxiliary gym and the support spaces that we're adding with the dark black brick. So there's a clear distinction between what's the auxiliary gym and the cafeteria and the support spaces that we're adding. And they're identified with a solid black brick. On the back side, you can see again, we've introduced more translucent panel to allow light in and differentiated that support space with the darker black brick. So this is just a site plan reiterating and reorienting you, where you can see in the dark gray, that's where this new 10,000 square foot addition is going to be added for Herbert Hoover. And this slide just demonstrates and highlights, if you were a person approaching this brand new auxiliary gym space, what it would look like. And we've also identified the material palettes that we're using, which are taking from that existing school and reimagining it in our way for the auxiliary gym. A view looking on the top and the back. And we're looking right now at an enlarged floor plan of that addition, which ties into it. And you can clearly see from running from north to south, we have this new corridor that ties in seamlessly into the existing school. The support spaces are identified in the light and medium gray, and the auxiliary gym space takes inspiration from the existing logo and the colors and perfectly embeds it within the design of the floor plan. That's Herbert Hoover. We're going to jump over to J.P. Stevens now. So J.P. Stevens is a little bit of a larger design challenge. And so the way we first thought about J.P. Stevens was, currently, if you're coming to J.P. Stevens, in the plan south is the main entrance into the school. And there's a high level of congestion that occurs throughout J.P. Stevens. So on the site, you have a high level of congestion, and within the school, there's congestion with the amount of students that are there. It is a really well-attended school, and there's overcrowding that's happening within each classroom because of the attendance there. And so there's a need for a new wing, a classroom wing, to help alleviate some of that overcrowding that's happening within each of the classrooms. So with those two factors in mind, what we're choosing to do is in the upper right-hand side, you can see we've oriented the building in a way to minimize the amount of parking that you would lose on site to an almost net zero solution on the right. And we've designed it in a way where, if I zoom in a little bit more, we've thought about the way that we can get people in cars further into the site and split it up from the existing entrance so that we can get people from who would normally come here, push them around, and drop them off at this main entrance in here. And they can circulate back out. And so what that does is it alleviates the pressure and congestion on the site and gets people further within that area. So we've specifically oriented the entrance for that purpose and the location of the school.
So another thing we are looking into this is back here, this street connects back to the new Dover.
Closer to the mic.
So what we are doing here is we are reorienting the tennis courts back here and extending this pathway, making that into a street and connecting it to the New Dover Avenue, New Dover Road in the back. So that's another project we are looking to explore. There's some DEP issues on that side which we will be looking into. So what that will do in a long run is going to reduce the congestion even further, because just having these two entrance points into the school will have another exit point which will alleviate the traffic congestion on the site.
So is it going to happen as a part of the same design, or it's a different project?
So this, the main addition project is a little bit further ahead. The DEP process takes a long time to get approvals. So the approval through DEP itself could take almost 6 to 8 months. So we are right now starting the exploratory phase of that so that we can start investigating what issues we have so we can submit for the DEP application. And then we'll look into that, what DEP has to say.
Thank you.
Just to clarify that, basically that section is being put in for DEP approval. The other section where is the classrooms is a different approval that is already in the process.
Department of Education.
Yes.
Thank you.
So in addition to the net zero and reconfiguration of the tennis courts on their upper right-hand side, we've also added about 40 to 50 spaces on the left-hand side of this site to accommodate for a potential increase of student capacity with this new wing addition that we're adding. So I'm just going to bring you down and take a look at what we're proposing for this new wing addition. So the current school is a 1 to 2 story tall school. And the way that the existing school was detailed is that it's broken down into a lower band with a darker brick and an upper band with a lighter brick. And so we reimagined that in a darker brick base and a lighter metal panel on the top. And the reason why we did that is because this is a 3-story wing addition, which will be the tallest element on the existing site. So this really is going to become a statement piece and a focal point for the future expansion of the J.P. Stevens High School. So we really thought it was important to delineate between this strive for innovation. And so we've emphasized the vertical design in the exterior of the facade, using a rather really simple and refined palette of only 4 materials that takes inspiration from the existing school. And on the back side of it, we've simplified the palette and only introduced the dark gray brick and banding on the back to complement the dark gray brick base that we're using in the front. And I'm just going to jump to the still renderings and show you that material palette that we have. So this is as if you're coming into this new wing, you're going to be dropped off and you're entering into this new 3-story classroom wing. You can see we really have a really small, refined palette that, again, takes inspiration from the existing school, but we've used it in a really creative solution to allow for this innovative design solution. This is if you're in the tennis courts and you've parked your car and you're taking a look at it. And the backside, again, where all classrooms are oriented. And so if we take a look at the floor plan right now, what we're talking about is a 3-story, 50,000 square foot addition and a 3,000 square foot renovation of 2 areas that are in the hatched. And the area in the light gray is that 3-story, 50,000 square foot wing addition. So if we zoom in a little bit further, some of the highlights of the floor plan that we've thought about is we have 27 classrooms, and that's broken down into 24 regular classrooms and 3 SGIs. We have 1 orchestra room, which is in the back. The main entrance is here. And if we go to the upper floor plan, we've allowed for a double-loaded quarter, which is the most efficient way to lay out the floor plan, with a center quarter, classrooms on either side. And the really nice thing and feature that we have is on the 3rd floor, we have this operating partition that can allow for 1 classroom to become 4 or 4 to become 3. It depends upon the user's experience and what they need to do it. So we've allowed for not only the function of a singular classroom, but the potential for 1 classroom to become up to 4, depending upon what the school or the users might need. And now I'm going to jump over to Thomas Jefferson. So for Thomas Jefferson, the main entrance we have is planned south, and typically you would be getting dropped off here. there's an existing 1- and 2-story school on the right and the same thing on the left. This solution was a really interesting one to improve the security measures, expand the existing hallway for the interior congestion that was happening within the school, and to add an auxiliary gym and stage in the back near the fields. And so this solution is really a planned solution at solving that security and congestion problem that's happening in the existing school. For Thomas Jefferson, I'm now taking you down as if you're being dropped off and looking at this new main entrance piece. And so the existing school, we've taken the gray accent that's on the existing school and taken the existing canopy roof and reskinned it with a standing seam roof and reused that gray standing seam roof in the form of a metal panel to differentiate this new expanded wing that runs east to west in the existing school, and differentiated that with a white metal panel that happens for the brand new canopy at the main entrance. And in doing so, we've also, which you can see in this aerial, expanded this drop-off zone and pickup zone for students to allow for the most flexible use of that space and that courtyard in the front now, where previously it was gated off. So we've accounted for this opportunity for more people to queue and wait, and students will sit there and occupy this interior courtyard in the front, main entrance. On the back side, we've taken that same gray metal panel and added in this existing, or this proposed connecting corridor that takes you back to the stage and the auxiliary gym, which is over here on the right-hand side. And the material palette we took was the same color brick that we're using, or that is on the existing school, and we're using the gray brick with banding the same way we're using it on the Herbert Hoover and J.P. Stevens School. We're using it on the Thomas Jefferson School as well. And we've also thought about not only the front courtyard, but the back courtyard, how the two need to integrate with each other and be a seamless material harmony. So currently there's a grass area with a little bit of outdoor seating capacity, and we've reimagined that we'd like to expand that outdoor seating and dining for the students. That complements the front courtyard expansion as well. This is just reorienting you so you can see the floor plan or site plan, the main entrance again to the south, this essential expanding link from east to west, the expansion, auxiliary gym and stage to the north. And here we've used a lot more materials because of the complexity of trying to have this solution be a seamless integration into the existing context. So we're reimagining this palette that you have here as being seamlessly a part of the existing palette that's on the school. This is a view as if you're coming into that new main entrance, and one on the back side looking at this auxiliary gym and stage area. And then here we just have a schematic design of the interior finishes, where you can see we've incorporated the school colors and lighter material palettes, all in the hallways, on the floor, and in the gym to celebrate the black and yellow colors of Thomas Jefferson. That's all I have for now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just have a quick question?
Questions?
Yes.
Just a question for both gyms. Is there any way that what's the entrance that they can come in just to use the gym? You have to come from the front. Then is there any side entrance they can come in so they don't have to go through the whole school?
Yes, I'll walk you through Herbert Hoover first, and then we can jump to Thomas Jefferson, if that's okay.
Thank you.
So for Herbert Hoover, we have an entrance over here that's next to the parking lot to the left, and another one over here, in case we have an increased capacity of people parking.
So, so both these entrances are card access only. So if you are having like an evening game, you can time control it. So if you want to open it like say 7 to 10 p.m. at night, you can open it, and after that it locks down.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that would be the way.
Yep.
We also have an entrance over here into it, and one that connects back to the existing school. So an interior one as well. For Thomas Jefferson, I'm just going to jump back to that floor plan and zoom in. We have an entrance off of the back, 2 more that go to the field, and then an interior one that connects to that newly expanded corridor, and another one that ties into the existing gym.
So in all practical purposes, I would say the main entrance, which is on the top here, and the one at the bottom, those are only 2 you will use it in terms of allowing access after hours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the board members?
Yes, Ms. Peng, can I ask one?
Mr. Schneider.
Are all of these plans that we saw from DMR tonight, were they sent to the Department of Education already?
No.
So Thomas Jefferson and Herbert Hoover has been with the Department of Education since November. JP Stephen, because we are doing the ROD grant application, is being submitted after we get the new resolution. I believe it's coming in tonight.
So if it was submitted in November, how much time does it take for the Department of Education to come back?
So usually Department of Education takes 90 days, but recently it's been taking much longer.
Are we allowed to bid things out after the 90 days, or we have to wait for them to give us an official approval?
So you can actually go out to bid. The process you cannot start is the permit. So for permit process, you need to have the Department of Education approval in hand. In other school districts where I'm working, we have gone out to bid and gone through the contract process, because we know eventually in 4 or 5 months the approvals have been coming in. So we have been buying time during that time, so that once we get the approval, we can file for the permit.
So if we submitted them in November, you have December, January, February, we're going to be March tomorrow, right?
Right.
So we're expecting to get approvals
In next month.
in
or
the
so.
next 30 days or so, probably?
That's what I would say.
Okay, cool, thank you. Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful job.
Can I add something, Board President?
Mr. Shi.
Yes, the Herbert Hoover, we are expecting the approval, Herbert Hoover, we're expecting to go out bidding early March.
Yeah, we're actually going out to bid next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Prior to getting the approval, we're going to bid anyway.
We got approval.
Oh, good.
Herbert Hoover.
Herbert Hoover.
The approval Hoover is already in there.
So is the intention to go, I'm sorry, through the chair, is the intention, I guess this is facilities and finance question? Mr. Shi, is the intention to go out to bid as soon as we get these approvals for each project?
Yeah, this one's approved, so we're ready to go.
yes.
Right, but if we get Thomas Jefferson's approval next week or a month from now, 2 months from now, is the intention to put it out to bid?
That would,
Yeah,
the committee would discuss
we
that.
have to decide that.
It hasn't been decided.
No.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr.
Oh, I just wanted to
Monica?
say thank you for the architects. You did the presentation 2 years ago in regards to our JP Stevens, and I'm glad that we're using that extension that we're making for the classrooms We've been working on it for almost 2 years, 3 years now. I'm glad to see it starting to come to fruition now. So you guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. very much.
Thank you.
And the other thing, let's come up with a logo for the Jaguars for TJ. It's still empty.
They actually had a logo.
You have a logo? Okay.
They had a logo, but it's a Jaguar, I
A
believe.
a happy Jaguar or
It's a
or
Jaguar.
mean Jaguar?
But we were not sure which Jaguar was the right one.
The principal said TJ is fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good
Next,
night.
we have
Thank you.
USA Architect.
Oh, so just to clarify, the JP, we are going through the ROD grant, which is on the agenda. We're expecting the approval sometime in May, June timeframe, and after that, we can go out if the approval coming. Is that correct, Pradeep?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, ROD grant, we are submitting 14 applications for ROD grant, and, JP is one of them. It's on a priority, a little bit lower on the priority list, but
Priority
we are
13.
submitting.
Yes.
13, yeah.
Pradeep, if you could just clarify and let the public know what the ROD grant does for us and why we're trying to get the ROD grant so it's beneficial for
Sure.
the taxpayers.
ROD grant is like a funding which is provided by state to do upgrades in school. It covers up to 40% of the cost of the project. State has a list of priority. Mechanical, electricals are number one, and then life safety and other projects are lower. But that money is available from state for the schools, and we are applying 14 projects so that we can maximize our benefit for that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So just to let the public know a little clearly that the reason for a few months delay in regards to getting this out to DOE is to make sure that
There's
we
no
get certain
delay.
funding back. So there's no delay, I'm sorry.
There is no delay.
There is no delay.
Okay, because the submission, because I said at the in January meeting, because we're building classrooms, there's some impact with the student numbers and stuff that's going to impact our state aid. So we had to clarify those before we submit. So even if we do not apply for the ROD grant, we would have submitted it in January, and the approval at the same time in the May June timeframe.
Thank you, Board.
And
Uh,
the
Jerry.
14 applications you are talking about, is it all JP Stevens projects?
No. It's
It's on the- it's
all
on the
over
finance.
different schools.
Okay,
So-
and 40% is a total cost, or 40% is whatever the qualified grant cost?
So it's like, for example, in 8 schools, we are applying for rooftop unit upgrades. In a couple of schools, we're applying for bathroom upgrades, and JP Stevens, we're applying for the classroom addition. Then there are, I don't have the list in front of me.
We have it in the finance resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's will be approved today.
Yes, so there are 14 different projects in different schools.
Got it, thank you.
Bottom line, we're trying to save the taxpayers some money. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good night.
This is USA.
Good evening. My name is Marlene Baruso. I'm with USA Architects. And we're going to talk about the additions, the auxiliary gym additions to Woodrow Wilson and John Adams Middle School. Just a little bit of an agenda today. We're going to give you a little bit about ourselves, just because I'm not sure, Deepak and I are new to this group, so just wanted to share who we are, and then talk about the 2 gym additions, and then leave time for questions. So USA Architects, we've been around for 37 years. We've focused a lot of attention in the K-12 market sector. We have 16 licensed architects working at our firm. And one thing that's interesting about our firm is 50% of the women, 50% of the people in leadership positions are women. And we've had 23 years of experience working with Edison as a firm. So my name is Marlene, like I said, I'm an associate at the firm, and then we have Deepika, who's a senior architectural designer. We've been working on these 2 additions together. So Woodrow Wilson, we're looking at an auxiliary gym. It's going to be off the back of the building. It's sized to be a full-size gymnasium, basketball court for a high school size. And then we have 6 backstops, so it's 1 full court, 2 half courts. We have bleacher seating for approximately 175 students, and then the space can also be used for large group assembly. Just orienting everybody to the plan. On Plan South, you see the main parking lot, the main entrance to the building, so you could see this is really this addition's going into the back of the building. And just to orient everybody where we are on a location on the site plan, you could see we've looked at the cricket pitch, and we're not, I'll let Deepika talk about it because cricket is not my forte. So.
It's not my forte either, but nevertheless, so we noticed 2 pitches on the field in the Google map, and we took the more stringent pitch just to make sure we are not disturbing anything. So as you can see, there should be no disturbance, and the back access to the gym towards the left, we'll see more in detail as we go to the other images. So we looked at the worst case scenario, and the infield and the outfield are both out, like quite far away from the building. So should not be a concern.
And we have activities happening after hours, after school hours. So there is a small vestibule entrance that you can access coming across that parking lot behind the building, so that if the rest of the building is shut down, for access reasons, you can control a point of access to the gymnasium off that main vestibule. And we've added windows there so you could see out and make sure there's nobody, no concerns coming. So this is a view looking at that entrance, really trying to build off the vernacular of the existing architecture, utilizing similar brick. We've matched the brick to what's there, and just trying to create something that feels like it was meant to belong there. We, again, not too different from what DMR has done. We've used the school colors to really amplify the school spirit within the new gym. The school logo, the WW, is what the school is using right now, and the logo that we've gotten approved from the school principal. You could see the full court, the high school size basketball court, with the 2 side courts. There's a divider curtain so the room could be split. And then we also have lines on the floor for volleyball and 3 pickleball games. So this is really meant to be utilized for PE overflow and after school hour use.
Did we talk about the corridor connecting to the existing?
Oh, and we're connecting right into the existing corridor with those 2 doors at the bottom of the plan. And a view into the gymnasium. So what you see in the black and the aqua or teal on the side of the walls are acoustical panels to absorb some noise and create a more, soften the sound environment within the space. And that's Wilson. Open items, so we're past the DOE application, we're well past the 98-day review period, and we're just about, there's at that 90-day mark, they're supposed to submit a letter stating that whether or not the building is within compliance with the LRFP. We are ready to write a letter to the DOE saying that based on the duration of time that has passed, we're 90 days, and then there's a 60-day after, that they're to let us know that they've deemed this building approved. We have not received that, so we're ready to initiate a letter to say that based on the time period that's gone by and without any comments back, that it's been deemed approved by DOE. And this project is ready to go. So once we establish a bid date with the district, we can go out to bid. John Adams Middle School, like Woodrow Wilson, another auxiliary gym. In this case, we're looking at including a warming kitchen and a performance stage. And so now this gives the benefit of the overflow for gym and PE, but also for overflow for lunch service as well. So just orienting you, the main entrance to this building is at the top of the page. And you could see the area in the white on the bottom right-hand side of the page is our new addition. There's a large outdoor patio space that could, leading to the entrance to the gymnasium. This would be the view to the entrance into the gymnasium. So we have this canopy, and again, trying to just utilize and balance off the existing vernacular and the existing architecture that's there, making it feel like it belongs at all times. It had always belonged there. The gym, same layout, the full-size basketball court, the 3 pickleball courts and a volleyball court. Stage with curtains, kind of similar to what we have here, but obviously within a gym. And then the warming kitchen at the top of the page. And again, it's a warming kitchen, there's not full cooking going on there, just for lunch overflow.
Also, like the entrance is down the left, and the 2 doors to the left connects to the existing corridor of the building, and the same corridor leads you into the new gym.
And then
Excuse me, if you could go back to the last slide, please. You're saying where's the warming kitchen again?
At
In
the
the back-
top of the page?
Top of the page. And what's on the right-hand side of it?
That's the stage.
Okay,
The
thank you.
stage that where you see the like wavy lines, that's the view of the, like if you're looking from the curtains up from
Gotcha,
above.
okay, thank you.
And then a view into that gym. What you see on the wall are, again, acoustical panels, just to, you know, absorb some of the noise and add a little bit of color interest. And again, you know, really using the school colors to create, you know, that feeling of school spirit. Again, we're in the same scenario for John Adams with DOE. We've made that submission. We're planning to write this letter to DOE. We're ready to move into bidding documents once we determine a bid date. The one thing that we need to, you know, still have a resolution on is a new the new electric service. So initially, when we started this project, we had allocated a $300,000 allowance for an upgrade to electrical service, because we thought we would not have the capacity available in the existing building, but we do, which is great because electrical items take a very long time to get in today's world. So we're not hinging a construction process on utility service upgrades. But we do need a determination from the district whether or not they want to do the upgrade as part of the construction project or to separate it and do it at a later date. And then the last piece is a flood hazard submittal letter. There's a small corner of the stage that is within the flood hazard zone. We just have to make a notification. We're not a hazard through the construction. It's actually a very strange configuration on the lines. I could show you if you're interested. But we just have to notify that we are doing work within that hazard zone, that floodplain. But the floor level is well above the floodplain because it's the stage, so it's really nothing to be of concern. Questions?
How many classrooms?
No classrooms. It's pure auxiliary gym.
And on the previous, how many classrooms?
No classrooms, only gym.
That's really going to help that's really going to help the overcrowding problem.
Just a quick question about the timeline. So I know this one was submitted a little bit late in November, if I remember correctly, right? So
I believe it was in October they went in.
oh, okay, also October. Okay, that's great. So when I spoke to Pete. He's sending a letter. So you also mentioned the letter.
Yeah.
So when is it ready for bidding, and what's the time?
We just need to define a time and we'll be ready. So if we wanted to go out to bid, Wilson is ready to go because we don't have to worry about the floodplain issues. So that could go first, and we could probably go out to bid at the end of the month if that was desired. And then we would just have to go through the process with that flood, the state approval on the letter.
The reason I'm asking, because you brought up the flood letter, and last time when Pete came to the committee, he said because the proximity of these two schools and we're doing similar work, his suggestion is to bid at the same time as one project instead of two projects. Now with this additional flood letter, what is is that still gonna be the case, or are we gonna be delayed a little bit?
Honestly, we could do it either way.
I'm sorry?
We could bid it together, or we could bid it separately. Just the waiting, anything when it's involving a state agency tends to lead to longer wait times. So if we wanted to move things along quicker, we would recommend separating Wilson from John Adams.
Well, the original intention of combining them is to get a volume, quote unquote discount, because if you're doing separately, that I don't know if we're actually gonna get that discount.
And in the bid, does the bid have anything to do with errors and omissions? In other words, we're bidding this out so far out in advance. The errors and omissions, is that going to reflect on the price of the project? Or is the price of the project the price that we're going to pay? And then am I going to take and start getting change orders from Pete that, we need $79,000 for asphalt, we need $3,500 for a piece of glass?
The bid would be the bid, so that would be the
So in other words,
contract
when
amount.
you give me a bid, that's the bid I'm going to pay, so I'll just write out a check for whatever it is. And anything that's overrun or any cost overruns or any errors and omissions, you're going to take, you're going to eat. Whereas Pete going to eat. Not the people in this audience.
Well,
No, the people in the audience, they're the ones that are paying for this. Are they going to pay for your errors and omissions?
well, there would not be errors and omissions. If we were gonna have a change order, it would be for things like expanded scope of work. If there was unforeseen conditions, nothing is.
Isn't that what your job is, to have engineers to come in and do the job? I'm not going to pay for something or bid on something or receive a bid that I'm going to have change orders 16 months down the road.
Board President, if I can make.
You can tell Pete,
Yeah.
I was the one who said it.
Sure.
Sure.
Vice President Joe, I think they're just basically representing here. They are not talking on behalf of Pete. I think those are the questions we should ask Pete when we have him in our facilities meeting, which is what I talked to Dr. Azari about right now to set up ASAP. So I thank you for presenting the schools here and the gymnasiums. And if there's any other questions, we'll definitely get them out to you as well as Pete, and make sure that we don't come and run into all these change orders that he always sends us. So thank you.
Mr. President, can I make a comment?
Yeah, sure.
So Ms. Marlene and Ms. Deepika, I just want to give kudos for your, for your presentation. I like that you gave a brief summary of your company. I didn't know about you, so it was good. You gave a summary of what projects you're working on. You gave an insight of what the current status is. I mean, seeing it helps me understand better than somebody just saying it. So, good job there. Thank you.
Board President?
Thank you. Mr. Schneider.
I agree with Mr. Patel. It was an excellent presentation. Thank you very much. The only comment I would have to add is that I think this goes over the soccer field. So as you drew the diameter of the cricket pitch and everything else, I think the new building impedes on about half the soccer field. And soccer is a very popular sport at Woodrow. I've been to many games there. So it's just something that I think the Facilities and Finance Committee will, I'm sure, address in your meetings. But I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you for that. Actually, I was going to ask you to bring that picture up, but just looking at that, that's a corner of the building that we are looking at that you're saying about the soccer field, but the soccer field is usually, majority of it is on the right-hand side that the kids are using, especially on the side of the circle where you go into the inner diameters. You're not very much impeding on the soccer field like you're stating, but I do see that soccer is also important to us, and I see that you took your liberties to minimize the space that you're occupying for the gym that we do need for our students as well. So soccer, gym, classrooms, all of these things are necessary for us to have, and I'm sure that we're working on every aspect of it, and I thank you for presenting it and taking into consideration the soccer field and the cricket pitch and everything else around it. So thank you. I know you're doing your due diligence in doing that. I appreciate
Well said.
that. Thank you.
I do want to confirm that. So is this going to actually take some place of the soccer field? Did you guys check that? Because I know that, yeah, that's when they're playing soccer, is near that white building that you're adding. That's almost looks like from this picture.
If you can,
I
yeah,
would-
Board President, yeah.
I'm not exactly sure, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
I'm
no.
not exactly sure where right now it's a big open field, and I know it's used for multiple things, because you could see there's the softball, baseball diamond there, there's 3 cricket pitches. So I think that there's, looking proportion-wise on the site and what's available within that open green space, there should be a large enough space available to configure a soccer field within that without the building being a hindrance on the soccer field.
Okay. It is supposed, yeah, because we're playing soccer games there, and
Yeah.
that's where they play.
I would ask just go and visit the school, talk to principal or somebody, and they can show you where they play the
Sure.
soccer. Thank you.
We could do the same too and lay out a soccer to make sure that we're,
Thank you.
Yep, Madam President.
Yeah, Mr. Shi?
Yeah, just I think the soccer field, that the goalpost is immovable, so we can probably move it to that side a little bit, but you brought a good point, so we're gonna talk to Pete, when he comes for the committee meeting, just make sure that, the kids can still play soccer over there.
we'll verify,
Okay,
but I
yeah.
believe you have the space there.
Okay, yeah, if we can remind him and say, hey, this is a concern from the board. By looking at the picture, I think we're okay, because the goalpost is movable, but just double check.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Board President, if I could say?
Mr. Mo Patel.
So we do have a few questions with Pete, so we will set up a meeting with Pete to make sure that we go over these plans properly. I actually asked him for a meeting 2 weeks ago, but I guess time constraints or whatnot, but we presented it without me or the board, the facilities committee meeting with him. So there are a few questions that we do have that we could have actually addressed had we had that meeting, but just relay the message, and I'm sure our superintendent will do the same. Thank you.
Well, please feel free to reach out to me. I am actively involved in the project. I'm working with the internal staff. I'm working with the consultants. I'm a senior project manager. I'm a licensed architect, so you can feel like you have trust in me as well as in with Pete.
Thank you so much. Actually, I will take your business card, and I'd rather deal with you than Pete. I appreciate that.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for your
Okay.
presentation.
Thank you.
Let's just continue with our regular matters. Next, Student Council Representative. Start with Addison High, Miss Serena Ahmad. Miss.
Good evening. Hope you're all doing well. It's been a busy month at the Nest with our students working hard and prepping for upcoming events. Jade did a fantastic job recapping the show earlier, but I want to start by reiterating how our Black Student Union put on an incredibly successful Black History Month showcase. Also, throughout the week, our Tri-M Music Honor Society played prominent pieces by Black artists for Lobby Music, raising money for the Sphinx Organization, a nonprofit dedicated to the development of young musicians of color. Our dance ensemble also put on a wonderful student choreographed show this past Friday. Our theater department has also been hard at work prepping for this year's spring musical, which will be High School Musical. If you're interested in seeing the show, the dates are March 16th, 17th, and 18th. Earlier this month, our choir department also put on a successful Broadway night show consisting of West Side Story medleys and student soloists and small groups sang Valentine's Day singograms, which are always a hit. Additionally, our choir, band, and orchestra are all currently preparing for their Disney competition and performances in late March. DECA is currently at their state conference in Atlantic City, and many of our students are currently competing. This past month, Student Council held our annual Dodgeball for Charity event, which was a success, and the Junior Class Council is currently gearing up for a March Madness event, which is new and hasn't been done before, so we're looking forward to it. Many of our seniors have been starting to commit to colleges, which is exciting. And overall this time of year tends to be very busy, yet very fulfilling, so good luck to everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Dev Doshi.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dev Doshi, and I'm the Student Council Second Vice President from John B. Stevens High School. The month of February has overall been successful, and I'm here to report on how things have been going as a school and a community. I'd like to start off by congratulating all the winter sports for their successful seasons and dedications to their respective programs. The boys basketball team ended their season 13-14 with Elijah Peters making the first team All-Red Division and Arko Sarkar making the second team All-Red Division. The girls basketball team ended their season 12-15 with Catherine Bogutsky and Trisha Nair making the second team All-White Division. Our girls and boys bowling teams have also had an outstanding season, with the girls ending 9-8 and the boys ending 9-7-1. Sarah Rodriguez and Shreya Nanda qualified for the state individuals, placing 6th and 15th respectively. Moving on to swimming, the team ended their season 6-3, placing first at GMCs in the relay and advancing to the semifinals. From the wrestling team, Kwabena Afiria and Adolfo Malabanan both participated in a county tournament, placing 4th and 5th respectively. Lastly, our winter track team participated in the state sectionals, with Shlok Mehta placing 6th in the 400 and 5th in the 800, and Andrew Mateo placing 5th in the high jump, and Grace Best placed 3rd in the 2-mile. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Miller for being chosen for Middlesex County School Counselor of the Year. We would also like to acknowledge the JPS African American Heritage Club during the Black History Month. They have done an incredible job commemorating African American figures and doing their part to spread awareness about racial discrimination. The club has been sharing moving and inspiring quotes each day to remind all the staff and students about the African American significance. This effort is supported by the JPS Weekly team, who posts informative infographics about these figures. While we're on the topic of clubs, the Odyssey of the Mind Club had their Gateway Regional competition recently, where we did fantastic. 6 teams advanced to the next stage of competition, which is a state level. JB Stevens placed first in problems 3, 4, and 5, and placed second in problems 1, 2, and 3. Pivoting to our several music programs, the super talented JPS Choir recently had their chamber ensemble to send off the concert, and this was selected to perform in Cincinnati at the ACDA National Conference. Additionally, 12 JPS band students performed in the NJMEA All-State Band Concerts over the weekend. The Wind Ensemble will be traveling by invitation to the Music for All National Concert Band Festival at the end of March to perform as a featured band. They were one of only 16 bands selected nationwide. Lastly, our orchestra continues to grow better with their several performances and competitions. Some other events that occurred during this month include our 8th grade pair night, where our National Honor Society provided tours, and our final round of RISE interviews for juniors. As marking period 3 begins, the administration has begun sending information for scheduling and electives to allow students to get ahead and plan for their future years at JP. This concludes everything that's happening at John P. Stevens at the moment, so thank you all for listening, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you both. Great job. We are very excited to hear all the great news. But as I said before, we're here to help. So if you guys have any issues, concerns, you represent your student body. Tell us what you need. Give us a wish list. Let's see. This board wants to help out. So let us know.
Yes, I have reached out about the Safety Ambassadors program in our school, just like right before this meeting. So just want to let you know about that.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk. Afterwards.
Safety Ambassador.
Yes, it's with the Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital. We go to elementary schools and teach them about safety, and this happens twice for each elementary school besides Woodbrook. And the program recently got shut down, so I just wanted to address that concern.
Yes, so Shannon, Madam President, sorry. Yeah, I heard about that thing from someone in the community. I think that's a very good program. And if you can please look into it, Dr. Elderly, and start that.
We had a wonderful conversation prior to, while the most of the board members were in closed session, so it's definitely on our radar.
Thank you. Nice job.
Thank you, guys.
Miss,
I did also reach out about a concern, and I talked to Dr. Alderelli
Yes.
about it. So we.
Okay. As long as you're reaching out, we're here to help. And I know you guys had a busy schedule. Feel free to leave if you want to, or enjoy your senior time. This is the best time of the year, right? All the applications are down, it's just waiting. All right, we're going to start with public comments, resolutions only. If we have any students in the audience, you can start early. You can start coming to the podium. If not, anybody, resolution only? No? Okay. Motion to end public comments?
Motion.
Second.
Motion.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve the personnel report.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, who was the second? Thank you.
Mr. Shi.
Mr. Vishal Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Baral Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Mohan Patel?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Mr. Amano?
Yes.
President Peng?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion to approve administration, curriculum, instruction, pupils special service report.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Vishal Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Baral Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Mohan Patel?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Mr. Amano?
Yes.
President Peng?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion to approve finance report.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
I'm a second. I didn't write that.
I'm a slow writer. Sorry about that.
We got to figure out an acronym for these
Mr.
board
Vi-
members.
Mr. Vishal Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Baral Patel?
Yes on everything, abstain on 14. I could not be in the whole meeting. Everything else, yes.
Abstain 14? Noted. Mr. Schneider?
Yes on everything, abstain, check number 16137 for $65.31. That's on the bill list, thank you.
And number 14.
And 14.
And 14, thank you very much, Mr. Shi.
Noted. Mr. Mohan Patel?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes, abstain on 14.
Noted. Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Mr. Amano?
Yes.
President Peng?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, we have committee reports. Athletic Committee, Mr. Vishal Patel.
Thank you. Okay, so we had athletic committee meetings on February 22nd from 12:15 to 1. Attendees were Vishal Patel, Ms. Sharon Pang, Dr. Alderali, Ms. Gail Polakowski, Ms. Arjis Histofis, and Mr. David Sandel. I think most of the next thing I'm going to announce, was led by Mr. Arjis Histofis and Mr. David Sandel, so credit goes to them. They were doing the research on the volleyball, making volleyball as a sport in middle school. And what they came back is volleyball will be offered as a sport, just like cross-country and soccer, in all 4 middle schools from next school year, starting September 2023. What this means is Edison schools, all Edison middle schools will have volleyball teams for boys and girls. The program will sponsor both girls and boys volleyball team for all 4 middle schools to play volleyball tournaments with other Middlesex County schools, including but not limited to Piscataway, North Brunswick, New Brunswick, and Monroe schools. Edison schools will hire volleyball coaches to support the middle school volleyball program. All 4 middle school gyms will be properly lined and outfitted for their volleyball courts. An approved volleyball system will be installed. Similarly, cricket will be offered as an intramural sport in all 4 Edison middle schools from next school year, starting September 2023. This means program will sponsor a tournament between 4 middle school cricket teams. Cricket will be offered as a club sport in J.P. Stevens and Edison High School from next school year, starting September 2023. Both J.P. Stevens and EHS will join the cricket club team along with Piscataway, Monroe, West Windsor, Plainsboro, and other Middlesex County high schools. The program will sponsor both high school cricket teams to play cricket tournaments with Monroe, West Windsor, Plainsboro, Piscataway, and other county high school teams. Edison School will hire coaches to support the middle school and high school cricket programs. Mr. Arjis and Mr. David will be responsible for planning and executing both programs. And Mr. Arjis and Mr. David will present the details of the program in the next meeting next month. The draft sports agreement for lacrosse between J.P. Stevens and Metrachan High Schools are ready, and the athletic website for all 4 middle schools are under construction. Any questions?
I have one.
Sure.
For the intramural sports for cricket, is it going to be co-ed?
No, it's going to be boys only for now.
Any other questions?
Board President?
Mr. Schneider?
Yeah, I just wanted to, compliment Mr. Patel on getting us to this point with cricket for children. I've said it over and over again. I just want to reiterate it. Me, speaking as board member, as a taxpayer, somebody that has kids in the schools, I think it's great to offer any sports that children are interested in. It's for the kids. I think it's great. I know that we spoke about it. I think it can't be to sacrifice other sports. So we just looked at a building that's potentially being built on a soccer field. So we got to find another place for the soccer field. So obviously you can't play cricket when you're playing soccer. You can't play cricket when you're playing softball or baseball. Or, we've had issues where things overlap. So I just want to say for my own, sake, that we, while I'm supportive of it, fully supportive of it, all the details need to be worked out to make sure that we don't take anything away to add this, because I think it's a valuable thing to add, but I don't think that we're talking about subtracting things at this point. So and I don't think you said that either. So I'm not putting words in your mouth, nor do I want to, sound like I am. I'm aware of that. I just think the devil's in the details sometimes, and we just have to work out, make sure that all the children have access to all of the things they need.
Thank you for comment, and I'm sure Mr. Algiz and Mr. David will look into it, right?
I also think, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I also think, I didn't think of this before Mr. Rivera just asked, but certainly I think, the girls in our district should have access to the same sports as the boys, but that's something that your committee will figure out.
Yep, thank you.
Board President, if I may, just ask a quick question or just make a comment. I understand that, we're talking about the soccer field for some reason now. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that, those questions are valid, but we don't have the full details other than the map. Like I said in the presentation, that we are going to talk to Pete and make sure that these are, our I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and we're not taking away from one sport or the other. So I thank you for bringing up the point, but we're not going to sacrifice one sport over the other or whatnot. And like I said, like everyone is saying, co-ed in all our clubs and sports is a great thing. So please definitely look into that as well.
I think we can look into co-ed, right? I think we didn't get into specifics of co-ed versus boys, but thank you for the comment, and we can look into it.
Yeah, I only brought it up because I wanted it to be successful. So if you can't get the numbers in boys, you get the numbers by adding the girls as well.
Yep.
So that's how you get a
No, I
successful
agree.
program. So that's
agree.
why I asked.
No, good question. Thank you.
Shannon?
Yeah.
Good job,
Ms.
Ishla.
White.
You're on the right path, and things should move along beautifully. I love the volleyball. I think that's incredible, as well as lacrosse. And I think it's great that you're introducing cricket to our young people. I think that's a wonderful thing. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. White.
And I think it's a great thing because since we built those pitches, now we're going to be able to utilize them and make sure the kids are actually also utilizing them as well. So that's an excellent point. Thank you. If it wasn't there, then we wouldn't have a curriculum for that. I appreciate it.
Next, we have Community Relationships Committee reports. Mr. Mohin Patel?
Is it finance?
No, Community Relationship.
There's finances first.
Skipped.
Huh? No,
I'll go first.
okay. Finance facility goes first.
So he could get his notes together.
Are you ready?
So we had two finance facility meetings. The first one is on February 14th at 4 p.m. In attendance, myself, Mrs. Penn, Joe Romano, Mohin Patel, Dr. Alaretti, Mr. Toast, Bill Colibus, Ralph Baca, and from Acacia Financial, Jan Edwards, and from First Bank, Frank Pulio. So the first topic we're talking about is the project financing options. Mrs. Edwards from Acacia presented the options of financing to the committee as well as the estimated cost of all the school gym classroom expansion projects presented last year. Given the BPU approval is end of March, the ESIP financing will be targeted at end of March, early April. Besides that, besides we're expanding the schools, we're also working with for the ESIP program. District will have enough funding to finance the first 2-3 expansion gym classroom projects. Too early to discussion for expansion financing. Okay? But when we get to the point, we'll share with everybody. The other one is investment account. We approved a resolution in January to receive RFPs for different banks. Mr. Pulio introduced the first bank to the committee, offered interest rate of 4% for money market accounts and 12-month CD of 4.5%. The committee had concerns with locking in for 12 months and the potential penalty if we withdraw early. We renegotiated with Mr. Pulio and reached a 4.25 interest rate for money market account, guaranteed for 6 months with $15 million deposit. Further discussion post-meeting, First Bank extended the money market account guaranteed to 12 months. Thank you, Mr. Toles. The committee encouraged Mr. Toles to have additional discussions with other banks and bring the bank representative to the committee in the future. Committee will suggest to the board for approval of transfer of $15 million to the First Bank at the BOE meeting, which we just approved. Technology update. The 5-year internet contract with Voice is expiring this year. Mr. Barker shares a new 5-year contract after bidding. 2 bids received. District will keep LightPath as our vendor since it's a lower bidder. The bandwidth has increased from 1 gigabyte to 10 gig for the S Center and JP's private fiber network. The dedicated internet bandwidth increased from 5 gig to 10 gig for the 2 locations as well. With the new contract, all bandwidth as a 10 gig for the 3 hubs, Edison High, JP, and S Center. The new contract is $150K cheaper than the older contract. The district will receive additional 50% E-rate reimbursement for eligible service at about $210K a year. Capital projects. Mr. Colibus showed the photos of Edison High turf fields. Given the dire needs of the repairs and the coming football season, the committee recommended the board to fund the project this year and approve the contract at the February BOE meeting, which we just did. And we'd like to thank the Edison football team for scheduling the first 3 games of the season as away games, allowing us to have more time for completion in case that we ran into some issues. The Herbert Hoover new gym project approval expected at the end of February. It's about $6 million. Committee agreed to immediate bid in March. This project will totally be funded by ESSER fund, which we just mentioned that we're going to go for bid the first week of this month. Mr. Colibus reviewed 24 additional projects from 14 buildings for the fiscal year 2024. The committee asked Mr. Colibus to bring the cost of each of the projects to the next meeting. RFP executive search firms, 3 vendors provided proposals. The committee recommended 2 vendors to the personnel committee for first round interview and clarification of processes. The final choice of which firm to conduct the superintendent search will be decided by the full board, which we just approved today, item number 14 on the finance agenda. 2024 estimated budget. Mr. Toles shared a very draft budget. Let me put another very here. With the committee, assuming the state aid is flat, the impact of tax levy is estimated about 5% increase. Biggest percent increase of the budget line item is health insurance. The suggested 2024 budget from current insurance broker will result in a $10 million increase, not including reserves. The committee requests Brown to present their justifications at next committee meeting. The committee will continue to work with Mr. Toles to reduce the impact of possible tax increase. Competitive contract, the committee agreed with the recommendation of a competitive contract for substitute staffing services and the HVAC containment filter services. Resolution will be voted on at the February BOE meeting. Contracts. Committee agreed with the need to hire 5 additional mental health clinics with effective school solutions at a cost of $197K. Committee also agreed with the purchase of 2 new cargo vans for the building and grounds department at $39K each. Education Foundation. The committee will suggest the board to approve the setup of Education Foundation to facilitate student achievement by supporting high-quality public education in Edison through partnerships and community collaborations, grants, events, scholarships, and public awareness. Meeting adjourned at 6:15, submitted by me. And we have another meeting on February 21st. The meeting started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. In attendance, myself, Mr. Romano, Mohin Patel, Shannon Penn, Mr. Toast, Bill Colibus, David Balkin from Balkin Risk Management, Gary Goldfarb, and James Fing, Michael Morrow, Carrie Coyle from Brown Brown. Risk insurance. Mr. Balkin presented the 2022-2023 versus 2023 versus 2024 different lines of coverage and the claims for the past 3 years. The estimated total budget increase will be 4% for the coming year at the meeting from the original 10%. Original, that was 10%. Now, at the meeting, it was 4%. Committee asked Mr. Balkin to obtain the total premium for the past 3 years for the committee to compare. The committee also asked Mr. Balkin to share the communications the firm had with NJSIG on reducing compensations. At the time of meeting, the safety training shared with the board last year has not conducted yet. Health insurance. Brown Brown presented New Jersey insurance market overview and reviewed the June 2022 committee insurance numbers with the new committee. Brown Brown reminds the committee the district-run health center might be the next step of self-insurance. The committee believes Edison School District should focus on our students first, given the severe overcrowding, before investing millions to building self-run clinics, plus the needs for more data from other districts to assess the return on investment. Brown Brown's assessed trend increase for the new year is 12.9% for medical, 16.9% for prescription, and 6.64% for dental. Even with the recommended change in dental insurance from fully insured to self-insured, the recommended 2023-2024 total budget is $52.1 million, $10 million from more than the revised 22-23 budget. Brown also recommended additional $8.57 million for reserve aggregate stop loss, $3.8 million for claims incurred but not reported. The committee members felt that Brown did not bring key detailed data to justify the increases. The committee requests BNB to provide month-by-month medical and RX actual claims of last year and this year. The total number of individuals with claims went over $300K threshold, the aggregate total dollar amount, the total loss, the total stop loss reimbursement, and the prescription rebates last year and this year. The committee also requests Brown to provide total number of drug overrides and the total cost of the rides of last year and this year. Express Scripts has a new save-on program for prescription drugs for those specialty drugs. It will save the district thousands of dollars for specialty medication. The district and the broker need to promote this program to our employee even more, and we are asking our employee to assist the district on saving taxpayers' money. If you're enrolling in the program, you can save thousands and thousands of dollars for the district because each of these specialty drugs is very, very expensive. A lot of them are like, biologicals and all of that. Facilities, although part of the paving of the Lincoln Elementary School in the proposed change order was not in the original design, the extra paving is necessary for the operation. The committee agreed with the change order of $79K, which was also approved today. The committee reviewed the costs associated with all the proposed 2024 projects from last meeting. These projects total about $4 million with bigger projects such as kitchen and serving area for about $574K for JMP, which should be done last year, and to some small projects of the entrance carpet for Monroe at $3,000. BOE member Mohin Patel, Joe Romano will visit John Adams and Woodrow Wilson to invest converting the locker rooms into classrooms. Post-meeting notes, they visited the two schools the following day with district architect and Mr. Colibus. Our architect is working on the design and the cost. Meeting adjourned at 4:45, submitted by myself. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Shi. Questions from
No
board
question.
members?
Yes.
Mr. Biro Patel?
So on the first one, 14 February meeting,
Yes.
one thing to Jerry and Mr. Toth, no 5% tax increase. You guys have 3-4 months to work on it. Mr. Toth, we tasked you this last year when you joined the board, 0% tax increase. By the time we reach May, you have a lot of time to work on it. 0% tax increase we did last 2 years. We want to do it again. And as soon as the BPU approves, if we can ask DCO to do a full board presentation with the public, that would be awesome. It was wonderful to see the architect presentation. That would go well with the whole EC program presentation to the public. Thank you.
Yes, that's what that's what's planned, and also we would also like to make a transparency to the public about the financing stuff. So we're probably gonna ask our financial planner to also come and share with the public how much we're gonna finance and so on. It's totally transparency.
Okay.
And you know, we're working on it. So it's very, very. I said use very. Two very, very, very draft.
Yes, very, 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 three very.
Yes,
I give you that.
and
3
there's
months to
also
work on.
a thing is assuming the state aid is flat.
Yeah, it will come out soon, so you'll know.
I got you.
Great, thank you. Board President, through,
Yes.
so I'm glad that Jerry just mentioned, I'm going to actually put it into my report as well, but I just wanted to state that Mr. Romano and I, we did visit two of our middle schools in regards to the locker rooms that are not being utilized for the past 2 years. And we're looking into adding additional class space for our students. And that's something that is something that we're going to definitely, is going to help out our overcrowding issues that we have. So we're not only looking at gymnasiums, but we are also looking at classrooms for our students. And overall, anything else that's going to enhance their curriculum and their activities in our school district. Just wanted to add that. Thank you for bringing that up. I was going to say.
Board President?
Thank you. Mr. Schneider?
Love the Edison High School turf and track project. Awesome. I'm so proud to be part of this board to approve that. I think it's a once every 10 or 20 year thing, right? So this is awesome that we're doing this for Edison High. What I would request of the committee chair is to address JP Stevens. The track there hasn't been done in probably 20 years. The turf hasn't been done in probably 10 years. And as we always preach equity in this township, I think it's great that we're doing Edison High. But, you know, like before we were talking about the middle schools, maybe we could get a better deal if we were doing 2 tracks at the same time or more turf than we are. So if we can address the JP Stevens track, that would be awesome. So that's one thing. Ironically, the paragraph a couple before that talks about $15 million in savings, right? I know we have more, but that's $15 million. It's great we're getting 4.25 on the interest rate, and what's done is done. The money's there, but I would like to challenge this board to not have so much money in that account. As a taxpayer, I want to have my money so I can invest it at 4.25%. I'm turning it over to us as a board for the board to then go and invest it. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that if we have money and we have more money than we spend, that money should be spent on our children, and whatever's left over should be allocated to a reserve account aligned with our capital projects, or we shouldn't be taxing the taxpayers so much. So having so much money is great that we have it now and we could get a good interest rate, but that's my comment there. I'd like to see us just charge people less taxes. Lastly, the insurance comments. I just wanted to remind the public that there's an increase in the budget line item for health insurance, but that's not, the increase in the budget line item is due, and Mr. Shi, you might have to correct me on this because you know a lot about self-insurance. You brought it to the district. When you brought self-insurance here, the idea is to, in the long run, save money. But it is not a plan where we're paying whether we use it or not. With self-insurance, we're paying essentially every time somebody goes to the doctor, we get that bill and we pay it, correct? Mr. Shi?
Yes.
So if we're under budgeted last year by $10 million, that's simply because $10 million extra dollars was spent on people going to the doctor, correct?
I don't know the dollar amount because the year has not passed yet.
Okay, so the suggested 2024 budget for current insurance broker will result in a $10 million increase.
That's for the next school year.
Right, so that would be their actuary saying, hey, we predict more people are gonna go to the doctor.
You're done with your questions? Because I want to answer all of them.
Well, just in general, I just want to make it clear that it's not necessarily an increase in insurance cost. It's just that when you're self-insured, your cost is dependent on how many people have surgeries, might get diagnosed with an illness, et cetera, correct?
That's the recommended budget number from Brown. So do I agree? Absolutely not. Okay, so we are budgeting for something, the possibility that will happen is probably 0%. So that's why I need more additional data. That's why I'm saying that we need more additional data from them on to see their justification.
So you and I were on the finance committee together last year. When we budgeted for this year, were we right or were we low?
I don't know. I don't have the total number yet.
Up till this point, we don't know?
We only 8 months into the 12-month period.
You don't break it down per month to know?
Yeah, but you don't know what's the trend it's coming up. So that's why we need numbers, the actual numbers.
Okay, cool.
Just to add on, the actuaries are going to give you numbers that are just, in the air sometimes, and that's what's happening right now. You just got the in the air number, which is 10 million, and that's why it was added on. So I understand your questioning regarding the $10 million of increase. People go to the doctors. We don't know, and we can't expect when and how and what they're going to go for. So that is something that we have to look into. Maybe it might be less. Who knows, right? My other question was in regards.
Let me answer as a question about $15 million. The money that we're talking here is earmarked for these construction projects, okay? If you know that when you go out and bid, the money has to be in a bank, or you have to show that you actually have the money. If we don't have the money, we cannot go bid. So that's what these projects are. And the last year's presentation, if you look at Dr. Bragan's presentations of $100 million. So, we're talking about bidding in March for this Herbert Hoover. We have to show them that we have the $9 million or whatever that $1 million they have, the cost is going to be before we can go bid. If we don't have the money, we cannot go bid. So to say that we're overtaxing people, that's not actually right. So if you look at the project itself is going to cost more than $50 million. More than $50 million. We don't have that much money in the bank. So that's why we're looking into financing and, to get these projects done. We did not have a plan, right? There was no plan. So we finally had a plan last year to move forward with these 5 construction projects. And you need money to be there to fund those, and that's why this money is for. Nobody's putting this, to collect interest. Right now, we put them in the money savings account because we don't need to pay them on June 1st when we bid the project. We're probably going to pay them a little bit later, and that's why they're on the money market account, not in the CD.
$15 million would cover probably 2 or potentially 3 of the projects we saw tonight.
2 at most.
2 at most, okay.
And it depends which school it is. If you look at the TJ, it costs more than $10 million. And if I remember correctly, somewhere around $12, $13 million. Okay? Herbert Hoover is probably $6 million. And, you saw the work for, John Adams and Woodrow. That's going to be easily over $10 million. And J.P. Stevens, $25 million. We did not even include all the site work that he mentioned about moving the tennis court, about possibly looking into another road coming into J.P. Stevens. That itself is going to be another $2 million. So probably, just don't quote me on it, somewhere around $2 million. And the project that they just look at is the 2 classrooms for the 2 locker rooms. And my understanding is the John Adams locker rooms is going to be somewhere from $700,000 to $800,000. The Woodrow Wilson converting the locker rooms into 3 special needs classrooms because the plumbings and stuff like that, it's gonna be somewhere in $1 million. So we're gonna use this money. Yeah, so the money will be used by, this year. Are we gonna use on June 1st, on July 1st? No, probably not. But by the time we finish these projects, yeah, we'll have probably no money left.
That's good. It sounds like we agree. Thank you.
Right, I get it. You have to have money to spend money. So that's one thing. And I'm actually happy that we're putting it into a higher interest-bearing account than leaving it in the regular account that earns nothing. So moving forward with the new bank and putting that 15 million, at least for even whatever if it is, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months before we use it, at least the taxpayers are making some money on that money sitting until it's being used. So I thank you for that. Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Thank you, Mr. Rivera.
I'm sorry, Jerry, I'm just trying to remember this again. Last year, we were underfunded for the health insurance, right? And that's why they told us to put the extra 8 million there? Is that the same reason why they want us to put an additional 10?
I don't know, but, we asked Dr. Bragan, did we overspend our budget? The answer was no, right? He said in public. So we have to look at this current year's actual spending. Again, we're only 8 months into it. We have to look at the actual when it comes out.
All right, just curious if it was just a projection.
Just to add on to that, if I may, Board President, is that those 2 years that we were putting all this money into our health insurance, it was during COVID time too. So you got to take that into consideration in terms of the increase and non-increase, because a lot of people weren't going to the doctors during COVID time. So, and that was another reason why you were able to budget accordingly. So thank you.
And just want to add that, I don't want to get into details on a lot of the data. And that's why you saw the meeting was very, very long. Okay, it's about 2.5 hours to talk about this. There are a lot of detailed discussions. I don't want to, bore everybody, the audience. If any board members want to know the details, I'm more than happy to share. And, some of the data that we have and what I think that, the numbers should be. Maybe I'm not right, but, I'm a number guy. I do my work. I deal with number every single day. So, if you want to persuade me of something, show me the numbers. I don't have all the numbers, so I can't make the call.
Yeah, Mr. Shi, I believe we have asked Brown to provide the data, and so far we have not received it.
Can I ask another question, Shannon, please?
Yes,
sure.
go ahead.
For the mandated trainings. The mandated trainings, the safety trainings?
It's not mandated, it's what they offered at the meeting.
What we were expected to get, do we know when those are going to be scheduled?
I have
and
no
when they're
idea. That's between the vendor and our administration. And as far as you asked me, we should have had the meetings before, but they have another 4 months to go.
Is this something
So far, it hasn't
John,
been
you guys are
done.
going to look into?
So far, we haven't received it, so.
If it's owed to us, we should receive it. That's what I'm...
Agree.
Yep.
And also, there was a letter to the NJSIG. I'm asking for a copy of the letter.
Thank you. I do want to thank Mr. Mohan Patel and Mr. Romano for taking the time to check out the schools and try to be, very creative, converting those non-used locker rooms into our classroom, which is very much needed for our middle schools.
Those principals need to be recommended as well, commended for their outside thinking of the box too.
Yep.
And the classes you say you're going to put in these locker rooms are what type of classes?
So for my understanding, for John Adams, they want to create a bigger room, which they could use for multiple purposes. They want to have a divider in the middle. So they're going to take, I think it's dance or orchestra or something.
Dance and chorus.
Chorus? I'm sorry, okay. Both. They're going to take those from the trailers and open up those 2 trailers as classrooms. Again, I don't like trailers, but this is a temporary solution. And for the Woodrow Wilson, the plan is to convert that into 3 special needs classes.
Contained.
Self-contained, I'm sorry. Because they need to have their own bathroom, so there will be some additional plumbing work it's needed. So that work is probably going to take a little bit longer. The John Adams project, if we get everything quickly, it should be done in the summer and ready for the fall school year, the bigger rooms. And the Woodrow Wilson's probably a little bit longer, maybe September, October the least.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next, we have curriculum reports. Mr. Vishal Patel.
Hello. Okay. So curriculum committee and then the administration had a very busy January and February. We met 3 times, January 31st, February 9, and February 24. Attendees were Vishal Patel, Shannon Pang, Mr. Biral Patel, Mr. Jerry Shri, Dr. Alderali, Ms. Gail Polikowski, and Ms. Barinder. The first topic was placement criteria, the middle school grouping procedures, 5th grade to 6th grade, pre-algebra placement criteria is updated as below. It will be A- or higher in marking period 1 to marking period 3, and greater than 85 percentile for the exact path, mathematics diagnostic. Mandatory teacher's recommendation is removed from the middle school grouping procedure for all subjects. And instead, the new criteria is added across the board, which reads, teacher's recommendation will be considered if the student does not meet the placement criteria. There has been a lot of conversations about middle school AB schedule. We are currently working with administration to create an innovative and creative schedule that provides our students and teachers with opportunities for authentic and autonomous learning experience. So stay tuned in the next meeting and we'll provide more details on it. High school biology period. For Edison High School, 9th grade students, the 2-period biology lab will be resumed from next school year, starting September 2023. And for JP Stevens 9th grade students, we are still evaluating the possibility of offering 2-period biology lab. And at last, we are exploring the possibility of offering the AP classes to 9th grade students. The potential AP classes that could be offered to 9th grade students are AP US History, AP World History, AP Economics, AP Computer Science, etc. I want to recognize Mr. Dr. Alderali, Ms. Polikowski, and Ms. Bahabir for being open-minded, innovative, and persistent, while working with the curriculum committee for making our school curriculum better. So thank you, all of you.
Board President.
Thank you. Mr. Biral Patel.
Yes, so as Vishal gave an update, that's a lot of work that went into curriculum committee and numerous number of hours the committee put into everything. Vishal, one more thing we want to add for tomorrow, and exactly as Vishal said, so much time was spent by the committee members in ironing out the details, and someone brought to our attention that the college board has announced AP pre-calculus for the year 23-24. So we may want to explore into option for making the current pre-calculus honors class to AP pre-calculus, if you can put that in the agenda for tomorrow.
Thank you, and I wanna give one clarification on the exact path. It's a second test, second exact path test, not the one that was taken already, but the one that will be taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
I just have.
Yeah, Mr. Rivera.
First of all, I want to thank Dr. Alderelli and Gail for continuously to try to fix this A-B problem. I know we were talking about it.
Mrs. Mahabir too.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to give you your shine too. I forgot, but I know that Dr. Bragan and I and a couple other people had some good conversations regarding changing the schedule to. There was conversation about changing to an 8-period day and even a 9-period day. So I want to say thank you guys for continuing with that mission. The other concern that I do have is, and I spoke to a couple of people about this, is I'm hoping that the J.P. Stevens 9th grade students have the same opportunity for the 2 periods of biology. I know when Dr. Bragan brought this up last year and we talked about it, we want to keep the course programs the same. So there could be an issue if a certain side of town is getting 2 lab periods and another town's getting 1. I could see the issues occurring. For instance, if my child is only getting 1 period of lab and he's not performing well, but the student across town is getting 2 periods of lab and now he's performing much better. You know, I think there needs to be equity within the program. So I'm praying to God, Gail and Beninder and the rest of the team, you know, please figure it out that we could get equity for both schools, that both of them are getting the same instruction. That's just my concern.
Okay, I do agree with that, but at least I'm happy that we're bringing the 6th period back to Edison High students, which they probably shouldn't have lost that last year to begin with. So at least we're, you know, to be fair, they don't have overcrowding problem here. They shouldn't have been sacrificed for the overcrowding problem at JP. So I'm just glad that we are, you know, bring that back to Edison High School at least. And I do have a few comments. You know, we have recently heard a lot of concerns from middle school, from the math placement criteria from elementary school to middle school. I just want to thank the current curriculum committee, while unaware of this change that was made last year, for working very closely with our administration and to revise the placement criteria. So we're no longer, just to summary, we're no longer using the stricter criteria introduced last year. Instead, we're reverting back to using A- instead of A, and a lower exact path score as the cutoff line. And we are eliminating the requirement for teacher recommendation. We do not want to overburden our teachers with having to write recommendation letters for every student in the class, especially when we are, you know, when they are already doing the marking period grades and we have another standardized test in place. And again, I want to reiterate that our primary goal is to offer our students as many opportunities as possible. You know, a 5th grader with an A- in math could very well excel in honor math the following year, and we have seen that happens a lot. And they shouldn't be blocked away from taking the challenge, and often the challenge would stimulate potential. So again, I just want to thank the curriculum committee for working this out and thank our administration to make this possible for our kids. Thank you. Next, we have Library Board Committee reports. Mr. Romano.
The Library Committee graciously decided that they would allow their committee to have a meeting, which was different than the meeting at the Board of Ed here. So I did get some notes. One of the notes is that, and I voted no, was that they had a bid not to exceed $7,500 for architectural design.
Thank you.
And another one not to exceed $5,000. I graciously voted no on both of them. There was a price list for project architect, property architect, project managers, a senior technical staff and drafting, and the administration, so I voted no on all of them.
Good job, Joe.
I'm trying.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm trying. I sat and listened at this board meeting, or this library meeting, and I just couldn't believe that they really think that you're just going to take and spend your money. And nobody's going to say no. It was really amazing. So what I did is I voted no on the whole package. Even though I know that they were trying to move the library, but instead they didn't move the library, it's staying where it was. I just got to tell you, like I discussed about an hour ago with change orders, the bid is the bid. And this bid is not to exceed $7,500. So when the bid comes in at $7,499.99, and you accept it, and then 6 weeks down the road, somebody comes over and says, I have a change order for $79,900. I voted no for a reason. I'm voting no for a reason again. And if there's another change order, it's going to have to stand in front of me, and they're going to have to tell me that they made the mistake, and they have to pay for it.
Yes.
You, the taxpayers, don't have to pay for it. Now, if they want to hold the school hostage, please do. I want you to stand in front of the library, or I want you to stand in front of the school with big signs that say, please pay me, and I'm going to stand right alongside it with a big sign that said, I paid you the bid that you said you were agreeing to. I'm tired of the taxpayers getting it stuck, and you know where it gets stuck. So please, if you know anybody, tell them. It's we the people. No, it's you the people. And I'm not going to talk about anything else except the pink football field. Is Dr. Ross here?
Mr. Ross.
There he goes.
Here he is. Mr. Ross, I promise that the football field will not be pink. I promise you.
Although I like the color pink, so.
Well, hey, there's an argument about it right now, but, you know, to be honest with you, you want a pink field? Okay. We'll make sure it happens. You have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I think now we see why, they schedule the library board meeting exactly as our board meeting, so that because they don't want you to go there. Next, we have policy committee report.
Sure, I'll make
Mr.
it
Mohin
quick.
Patel.
Thank you, Board President. So the policy committee met on February 1st and February 22nd to discuss recommendations and mandate changes to policy. Present for the meeting was myself, Board President Shannon Pang, Vice President Joe Romano, Board Member Jerry Shi. First, many of the executive orders and DOE guidance documents surrounding COVID-19 either no longer exist or were rescinded for school year 22/23. As a result, our road forward and staff vaccine mandate policy needed to be abolished. Next, some policies needed to be adjusted to reflect changes to the state law and administrative code. These policies are listed as mandated changes on the agenda. Finally, we were provided with recommended revisions to policy. Two of these were 0161 and 0162, were sent to our attorney's office for further clarification. The third reflects current board practices for election of officers, paper ballot, and majority of board members present. Changes will be posted to our website once the second reading is approved by the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? See none. Township Liaison Committee, Mrs. White.
Okay, here we go. This was our first liaison committee meeting in quite a while. So basically, with this meeting, we tried to tie up a lot of loose ends and, bring some things that were kind of important to us into focus. Okay, so here we go. The Township Liaison Committee was held on Tuesday, February the 14th, beginning at 11 a.m. and ending at 12 noon at the Education Center. In attendance in person were Township Council President John Pointer, BOE Board President Shannon Pang, BOE members Biral Patel, Mohan Patel, Acting Superintendent Dr. Edward Aldarelli, BOE Business Administrator Board Secretary John Toth, Edison Police Sergeant Lisa Semino, Officer Mike Winters, and Virginia White Committee Chair. In attendance via Zoom were Deputy Chief of Police Robert Dudash, Councilman A.J. Patel, and Township Constituent Relations Coordinator Pat Coyle. Deputy Chief Robert Dudash began our meeting. He addressed the Civilian Police Academy. At this point, they have 28 adults. And this academy is an extension of the Junior Police Academy that was held at Edison High School over the summer. He also updated us on the Junior Police Academy, and they plan on continuing that program as well. Chief Dudash inquired about drug education classes for middle school and high school health classes. And Dr. Aldarelli said that he would give the suggestion or request to the proper supervisor for further research, because we feel this, we need to really address this. Virginia White asked about the crossing at Old Post and Boulevard of Eagles. It was suggested that crossing signs with blinking lights that could be activated by the crossing guard would be of benefit, and Chief Dudash said that he would look into it and provide information to the group. So, because that crossing is so bad, if you do attend Edison High here, you know that. The subject of crossing guards was addressed as well. Chief Dudash stated that they have been successful and are getting close to filling up all of the openings. Sergeant Semino added that 9 guards have been hired. All 9 are in the process of being vetted and then trained. She stated that the crossing at Woodrow Wilson Drive and Plainfield Road will remain manned by a police officer. The pay for crossing guards has increased from $12 an hour to $19 an hour. So if you know of anybody who's interested, they're always looking for help. So please, guide them to our police. Officers Semino and Winters also gave an update on the Woodrow Wilson Gloria Avenue project. Construction cannot happen while school is in session for obvious reasons. So we're looking forward to doing this work during vacation and summer. Or start, anytime that a new traffic pattern has begun or is begun, it has to be started at the beginning of the school year, not in the middle. And especially with that particular project, it's big. September is the suggested start date for the completion. Well, actually, it should be the end date. In addition, residential parking signs should be in place very soon on Gloria. Traffic patterns at James Monroe and Herbert Hoover Middle School are moving along in a good way, and Sergeant Semino also stated that the schools, upon request, will be provided with letters from the police department with traffic and safety guidelines. Township Constituent Relations Coordinator Pat Coyle updated the group on Floyd Street. The street has been paved. Sidewalks were the concern. Pat indicated that he would follow up with the township engineer and provide additional information. Mohan Patel suggested that trimming the trees in that area as well would probably help, and Pat said he would look into that as well. Virginia White mentioned to the group that the NJSBA is offering grants to school boards statewide. There are 13 categories, and they include renovation, new construction. I asked Township Administration if they would help us in our quest if needed, and they said they would. Stelton School was addressed by Ajay Patel along with other committee members, and we agreed to keep this on the table and try to move forward with it as best we can. Council President John Pointer is our newest member on the township side. He is also a member of the Environmental Committee, Beautiful Edison, and Sustainable New Jersey. We asked if he could provide grants or programs that we could, move forward to our schools. Our next meeting is scheduled for March the 14th. Respectfully submitted, Virginia White Chair, but I have just a little update. You'll like this too, Jerry. Okay, Pat Coyle got back to me almost immediately after this meeting. Floyd Street is still under design with Colliers, which is to include the sidewalks. That was our concern. And a minor roadway widening. We were a little bit concerned about the roadway there on Floyd. A lot of you don't know where that area is, but, it is a major problem. So, I feel that we're moving forward with that in a good way. We have the remaining portion of their design included in our capital budget request for 2023, and that is from Pat Coyle to me. So, I was really, really happy with that, and it seems like anytime I ask this gentleman to look into something or do it, he's always very, very helpful, so I do appreciate him. So that's my report. Until next time. Okay, thank you for listening.
Right. Board President.
Mrs. White. Yes, Mr.
Sorry.
Sure. I just wanted to add something to. It's an amazing meeting that we have all the time. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that we were talking about Stelton. We've been talking about Stelton for almost 3 years now. And when Mayor Lanke was in office, we had the law firm at that time actually working with our law firm to making sure that the property got off the Rossi, and we're doing so much great progress with that. Unfortunately, the talks died down once we had the new mayor in office.
It didn't have anything to do with that.
And
Yeah.
he's been part of that process for
No,
a
he
long
hasn't.
time. So that being said, I want to make sure the township is keeping Stelton School in mind every time, whenever they come to our meetings. They make sure that the Stelton School progress is moving forward, or if they're doing something about it. I understand you want to go buy new properties from the township wherever, but we have a school that's already there. The property is already there. It is a property that belonged to BOE. We want it back. We want our school back. We want to have our kindergarten programs available to our parents and the kids. So I would love for the township to stop talking about other schools, but work on the schools that we currently have. Help us with that school. That's what we need more than anything else. Thank you.
Okay, and you know Stelton School, as always, is a work in progress. The wheels on that school move extremely slow, and I know I sound repetitious with this, but as long as, you know, the school would be available to us, as long as we do not interfere with the footprint of the school, and it still has to be an elementary school. It cannot be anything else other than that. Our problem involves the property surrounding it, because it is Green Acres or Rossi. And we have, you know, tried to move forward with that. But that, you know, that is not an easy task. But as I've said before, we have not given up on this. We are still moving forward. There are other things that we're looking into as well. And hopefully, you know, we'll hear good news shortly, you know, on other issues. But believe me, I have not given up on Stelton School. I know Moen hasn't, you know.
Will not give up either.
You know, it does get very frustrating because it does take a long time. But you know what they say, all good things come to those who wait, okay? And I'm sure we're going to move forward with it. Thank you.
Joe, your comments?
I understand Stelton School, trust me. Something came to my attention. Talmadge Road and Coolidge. This is a report from the federal government. I don't know, it's about 120 pages. It's got maps. It says things like prehistoric site. So, and there's box turtles and some sort of lizards and everything. But I talked to some people, and they had said to me that they were willing to give us, the Board of Ed, they were willing to give us that property. It's 9.5 acres of usable land. This piece of paper, I'll let anybody look at it if they like. It was drafted in 1986 by a company called Edison Tyler Estates. And it was a research company from Woodridge Avenue, Highland Park. It's got an HR number. I don't know if anybody knows what that means, but that's the House of Representatives. They had that property was zoned for a convenience store and a little park. But then they found like these box turtles and stuff. Now I know that's kind of weird because like they came in there and was really strange, but if you walk the property is surrounded by Belgian block. So they already had an idea. But they've already told me now that they're willing to give us that, no strings attached. But at that acreage, I don't think we can build a school unless we build it 3 stories high. And if we build that school, it's going to take anywhere from 2.5 years to 3 years to build. And that's not going to take and give us that overcrowding problem that we have, not going to solve it at all. The overcrowding problem would be resolved by J.P. Stevens, Edison High, Martin Luther King, Ben Franklin, Lindenau, JMI, JMP. I'm not saying that we don't need gyms, and I'm not saying a lot of other things, but we really need classrooms. When you're talking about 2,700 kids at J.P. Stevens, and you're talking about children that get up at a board meeting and start saying that it takes them too long to get from one side of Herbert Hoover to the other, but they hadn't decided, like, it would take maybe 2 more minutes. And if you take 2 more minutes, it's not a lot of time, but you add it times all of the classes, and then you add it times the bus schedule, and then you add it times the rest of the bus schedule throughout the district, then people would be complaining about the amount of buses and about the time to get the children from point A to point B. I still think that putting classrooms on at J.P. Stevens and Edison High and some of our other schools is the way that we have to go. And you're right, we have to take and do that. Yes, we had on the proposals, and I'm going to have to say, yeah, I voted for Herbert Hoover, and I'm voting for J.P. Stevens. But the other schools with the other gyms, I'm not going to vote for them. I'm going to vote for classrooms. That's where I think we have to go. Now, I hope I'm the one vote, that the 8-to-1 vote, but to be perfectly honest, I'm voting for the kids, not for the gyms. I'm voting for cafeterias. I'm voting for children that go at Martin Luther King School that walk in single file lines into a closet, that pick up their lunch in a brown bag and walk back to their classroom. And I'm talking about the kids at Ben Franklin. I'm talking about the kids at Lindenau. You know the kids at Lindenau, you know where they play? They play in the street. So I really think classrooms or gymnasiums or cafeterias in these schools that are the size, not for nothing, the size of the closets. So I want everything. And you're right. With $4.4 million in the budget every year to take and pay off the loan, you were right, Doug. You were absolutely 100% right. We could use that money to pay for a loan. Not to tell the taxpayers they have to pay for it. It's the money that we can generate. So I hope that we can take and discuss this and use that $4.4 million, and then at the end of 2036, the money that we need will be paid off. But right now, at this time, I think we need classrooms. Have you walked through some of our schools? I know you have. I know you have children in the schools. I walked through the schools when the school was changing classes. It's amazing. It's just amazing with the children and how they're moving. I would love to take and have as much room as possible and give them as many. We're talking about taking gymnasiums. We're talking about taking locker rooms and converting them into classrooms. I would rather take $4.5 million, and add classrooms onto a school. I hope that everybody understands that. I don't want to be an ogre. But we need classrooms. 100%. Our schools are overcrowded. Overcrowded. We should be concentrating on overcrowding. We shouldn't be worrying about right now, at this present time, we should not be worrying about gymnasiums. We should be worrying about schools that don't have gymnasiums. Lindenau does not have a gymnasium. Ben Franklin doesn't have a gymnasium. JMI doesn't have a gymnasium. Martin Luther King doesn't have a gymnasium. When you walk around that school and there's kids standing in line, walking into a closet to pick up their lunch, to go back to a classroom, I'm sorry. I reserve my right.
Board President?
Thanks, Joe.
Board President?
Yeah, Mr. Schneider?
I just want to respectfully apologize to Ms. White because this is comments on her Township Liaison Committee time, correct? So,
I think I'm done.
yeah, that's okay. So that's where we were at. But gyms are classrooms. It's gym is a required class that every student has to take. And if you go into this is not my thoughts. This is a a board-wide decision last year that these middle schools needed gymnasiums because of their gym classes. I just wanted to point that out because if you go into Woodrow Wilson, for example, during a gym class, the students don't, you talk about overcrowding, the students don't have room to play gym like the way that we did years ago when I went to school here.
I understand.
So when you say we need classrooms, my only correction is the gym is a classroom during the day, okay? And it's important that we have space for the students. It's like going into a classroom, and if there's 30 students in there, it feels crowded. A gym feels crowded when there's a whole bunch of kids in there. And by the way, every single student, every single day needs to partake in physical education. It's part of the curriculum. So I don't want to hijack this. I don't have committee time, so I'm using this time to point this out. But, you know, to me, it's very important to have the gymnasiums built because this is something that the schools told us they needed. This was not a creation that we came up with on our own.
And then I'd just like to...
And Ms. White, sorry about that.
I'd just like to jump on that, too. That was supposed to be in phases, you know, so that was one phase. The next phase was all elementary schools. They were trying to break it down. That was, you know, I was on that or at that meeting. I think most of us were. That was broken down into phases, so I know they were trying to take care of the high schools, the middle schools, and then the elementary schools, because they could only work it out a certain way. Yes, you are right. We truly, truly need classrooms. We need them desperately, but we also needed the gyms. And it was at the request of the, you know, the principals and administration.
I didn't hear anything, not to interrupt. I didn't hear anything about Edison High School getting classrooms. Did anybody in this room hear anything on this dais about Edison High School getting classrooms?
No, but...
But if that was the proposal, if that was the discussion...
It was not.
It wasn't for Edison, it was JP, because JP was critical, you know, and the middle schools. And then after that, it was going to be our big thing with Edison High School right now was the gym. We were working so hard to get this gym. But, I mean, that's, you know, I mean, let's face it, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, you know, and all we could do was try our best.
Okay, let's move on. Last, we have Community Relationship Committee. Mr. Mohin Patel.
Great, thank you, Board President. We had our Community Relations Committee meet on February 1st, 2023. In attendance were the chair, myself, Mo Patel, Board President Shannon Peng, Board Member Jerry Shi, Board Member Ms. Virginia White, Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Thomas Tuhi, and School Business Administrator, Mr. Jonathan Toth. The meeting began with a discussion on the need to highlight the great things we are doing here in Edison Township Public Schools. This will include all increased social media presence on all platforms, as well as looking up looking into updating our webpage, both district and school-based. The committee discussed the need to create a community relations information officer that can assist with messaging, branding, and providing updates to the community about district and Board of Education happenings. The committee tasked the acting superintendent with exploring other districts that have this position, creating a job description that is reflective of the goals and actions the Board of Education would like to achieve, and presenting this information at an upcoming personnel committee meeting. The committee also discussed the idea of creating a district-wide parent academy. A parent academy is a partnership between the Board of Education and the community of Edison Township that focuses on providing workshops, information, and opportunities for parents to become active partners in their child's education. The committee reviewed other school districts that have successful parent academies and will look to formulate a plan to implement the program at a district level in the near future. Lastly, the committee discussed some of the Board of Education's accomplishments over the past 2 months that stemmed from the various committee meetings. The Community Relation Committee committed to providing period updates in order to increase transparency between the Board of Education and the members of Edison Township community. Just a few things that we did in the past few months, just to highlight them so we all are on the same page. Just give me 1 second, I will pull it up. We removed the dividers between the public and the board because there's no, this is your time. This is us talking together. We lifted the 6-minute public speaking limit and restored a 3-minute rebuttal, which is not to stifle your voice. Abolished behavioral and legal warning before public comments. You shouldn't be scared into not saying anything you want to say. Restored dismantled transportation, special education personnel, and athletic committees. Basically, these committees weren't in effect last year, and we brought them back to make sure that we handle all the issues with transportation and other issues that we were facing. We issued a RFP and followed committee interview process to hire board attorneys. So we didn't just say this is our board attorney. We actually had a process and RFP in place where you got us to look at other attorneys and make a decision for you. We issued RFPs conducted first RFP for district banking in 20+ years, resulting in banks offering interest rates 4 to 5 times higher and free funds for district programs. Initiated a proposal of tutoring service for elementary and middle school students volunteered by high schoolers, which is awesome because they learn better from peer to peer as well. We expanded summer internship programs for high schoolers through partnerships with district vendors. We got our vendors that we've been using in our school district for so many years to come and say, take some of our kids in your summer programs and they can learn from that experience. We support the expansion of the middle school intramural volleyball discussion ongoing for middle school cricket programs. We worked with district leadership to initiate and support routine inspections of building grounds and record needed repairs, such as puddles, potholes, etc. So things that you guys are facing as parents when you're dropping off your kids or whatever our kids are facing in our schools, we are starting to address each and every item one by one. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other board member comments?
Madam President?
Yeah, Mr. Shi.
Just want to add one more thing that's small. If you guys, if the parents go to the school board website and look for calendar, right now there's a downloadable. You can go there and download it. It will put on your phone or whatever device you have. Instead of, if you're on shopping or whatever, you can just look at your phone or looking at a device. You will know, is this day or half day? Is it marking period? Is it holiday? And so on. So it's a little convenience for the parents. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question for Eddie, though. The Education Foundation, it's supposed to be an independent organization, has with its own bylaws and representatives. Looks like we're setting it up. The school is setting it up. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah.
Why we're doing that?
So both Mr. Toth and myself have experience with the beginnings of developing a foundation from our previous districts, and I believe also our board attorney has some experience with that as well. The process would be initiated with, directing me to have and begin discussions with our Board of Education attorney, of which would be the development of bylaws, which would then in turn encompass a variety of different things, of which, identifying a process for labeling trustees, board of directors, things along those lines, and, how those bylaws really affect, the process by which you would develop the foundation. So I think that the development of it would be under my direction, and then it would obviously be turned over to a group of trustees, which would be members of the community. I don't know if Mr. Toth or
Yeah, I think
Mr.
that's it.
Welch wants to add anything to it.
Dr. Aldarelli described that perfectly. I mean, the role in it for the superintendent is to work along with the board attorney to develop the bylaws and appoint trustees who will go on to appoint members of the community as board members. And ultimately, the foundation in itself is there to support the curricular and co-curricular needs of the school district. So it works in parallel to what we're trying to do. It's really a wonderful thing.
Yeah. And so in our separate district, what they would do is they're obviously a separate entity, but they would align, they would partner with our school district. We would identify what, our district goals and the Board of Education goals in order to support those things. It could be as small as classroom grants for teachers, right? It could be as large as assisting with a science program, music program, things along those lines. It really is sky's the limit with how that entity, that separate entity, not only conducts itself, but partners with this body as well to accomplish good things. At the end of the day, those results would be seen in our classrooms and with our students.
Thank you. I think it's a great initiative and well explained, gentlemen. Thank you. I'm going to just announce the meeting. Next caucus meeting is on March 16th, 7 p.m. at Ed Center. Our next public meeting is March 21st at John P. Stevens at 7 p.m. And before we go to public comments, I'd like to dismiss our student representative, so that you don't have to stay for the public comments. Now, starting with the public comments, I see a students there. You want to go first?
Members over there. Board members.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any other board member have comments?
Let the kids do first, and we'll do the board member
Okay.
comments. It's already late,
Do
You
we
can start.
okay. I'm Vivian Lee.
And I'm Rithika Shah.
And we're here today to speak on behalf of the Student Safety Ambassadors at J.P. Stevens High School. For those of you who don't know, Safety Ambassadors is a program with Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital in which upperclassmen visit elementary schools in North Edison, specifically Menlo Park, JMI, and MLK, to give 2 20-minute lessons on safety per visit with topics like pedestrian safety, car safety, and wheeled sports safety. The RWJ Safety Program educates and protects children from ending up in the emergency room. We provide comprehensive and engaging safety education for elementary school students, work with a team to implement the most effective teaching strategies, and develop presentations that stick with these kids for a lifetime. However, the Safety Ambassadors program recently got shut down at JP without prior notice. JP has been doing this program for 16 years, and we are one of the 3 founding schools, and we have one of the biggest and far-reaching programs in all of Middlesex. The program is extremely sad to lose us and the impact that we have left on the community. We have 19 safety ambassadors, and we all have our interactive lessons ready for this year, yet we were not able to visit a single school this year. The program was canceled suddenly, and a lot of people did not know about this cancellation or why it has been canceled.
The reason we were given for the removal is the lack of room in the first grade curriculum for the safety lessons. But our lessons are 80 minutes in total from 180 school days of first grade. That's only 80 minutes from over 50,000 minutes of first grade. We teach these first graders invaluable lessons, and our goal is to ensure that children are playing safely to reduce the number in the emergency room. These lessons are ones that they remember. You can ask many of the current high schoolers who are in Edison in first grade. They remember their first safety ambassador lesson. It's an experience that they remember for a lifetime, and all we need is 80 minutes, which is 4 different 20-minute presentations on 4 different safety topics. Hence, we would like to request the board to review this decision and provide further insight. We would truly like the program to continue and keep saving lives. Even though kids are not going to log how many times they wore their helmet or how many times they didn't crash because they looked left and right, they will remember to do these things and how we've made an impact on them. Please let us know if you have any questions or concerns, and once again, we humbly request a motion to reinstate the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out here and reaching out to us. It's the first time I'm hearing this, obviously. I wonder,
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
definitely going to follow up this.
Your classmate, your representative,
Yeah.
and I had a really great dialogue prior to the beginning of this meeting, so it's on my radar right now, and we're going to be reaching out this week to address all those pieces that you talked about tonight. As always, I'm amazed by how eloquent and how succinct our students speak. So I thank you for your time. Great job.
Yeah, thank you for advocating for this program. It seems like a very good program. I don't know why it's shut down, and I'm sure those elementary school kids are happy to see, the seniors, the high school kids talking to them. It will be an exciting program for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The document that I gave you outlined like everything that they talked about. So if you want to contact me about anything, I'm always available.
You got it. Thank you.
We will.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Any other students in the audience? You can come. Then the gentleman in white.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Troy Ganawardena. I'm a junior at J.P. Stevens High School. I'm also a co-founder of a website and nonprofit called Grade Scout. Grade Scout is an alternate website students and parents can use to access Genesis. It provides numerous benefits over the antiquated Genesis user interface. For example, while users need to refresh the page in order to see updates while using Genesis, Grade Scout provides live notifications for grade changes. Additionally, Grade Scout helps students and parents understand and analyze the information that's shown to them. We provide users with a built-in GPA calculator that can be set to Edison's GPA scale, and we have confirmed that it's accurate with our own transcripts. We also provide a feature that allows students and parents to simulate adding, editing, or removing assignments to predict grade changes. This means that, for example, if I were to have a test next week and I want to know how getting a 90 out of that test might affect my average, I can simply plug a few numbers into Grade Scout and it'll automatically calculate how that test might affect my average instantly. Grade Scout is designed to be usable on any device and be compatible with the over 270 districts that use Genesis, although its popularity only became solidified here in Edison so far. By January, the site was receiving thousands of unique daily users from Edison alone. These included students from all 4 middle schools and both high schools. As a JP student myself, I witnessed Grade Scout become ingrained in Edison's student culture. I saw students using and talking about Grade Scout everywhere, and countless students reached out to share their appreciation. We'd received messages from parents even expressing support and telling us how useful the site was for them. However, in late January, our website was blocked on all Edison devices. There was an immediate reaction across all middle and high schools. In particular, we observed that students in both John Adams Middle School and Woodrow Wilson Middle School, completely independently from us, formed petitions that gained hundreds of signatures. Even until now, my fellow students have been constantly asking myself and other members of our team when the site might get unblocked. Actually, as a side note, even today I noticed in the JPS newsletter, Hawkeye, there was a joking reference to Grade Scout as the students' favorite website. In the interest of better understanding the situation, we reached out to the JPS administration, and soon afterwards, we also reached out to Mr. Vishal Patel, who's present on the board today, and Mr. Barka, who's the district CTO. We are very thankful for all the advice and encouragement that we've received, and we learned that the district initially had some concerns regarding security, as users need to sign in with their Genesis credentials in order for Grade Scout to function, because Grade Scout works by accessing Genesis on their behalf. Mr. Barka informed us that Genesis as a company also shares these concerns, but stated that it remains the district's choice to allow the use of Grade Scout. Despite the concerns, we'd like to clarify that Grade Scout does not store credentials or other user information anywhere other than on users' devices. Grade Scout also has no special access to district systems beyond what a typical Genesis account would. In order to reaffirm our security practices, we're also working with contacts outside of the district, including individuals associated with the New Jersey School Boards Association and Rutgers University. As we continue to work with the district, we would like to emphasize that we already utilize many third-party services with full access to our student databases, all of which at one point began from nothing. Grade Scout is no different, and it also does not require nearly as high of a level of access, and it's also an independent choice for individual students and parents to use it, rather than a service that the district as a whole must subscribe to. Bearing in mind the fact that Genesis has confirmed that the district may choose to allow its use, we hope that through our continued efforts, we may be able to gain the district's trust and once again allow the use of Grade Scout on school devices. Thank you for your attention, and once again, thanks very much to everyone else who has been helping and encouraging us along the way, including our amazing team.
Mr. President, can I make a
Thank you.
comment?
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Patel.
So I give kudos to you and your partner, I believe, Sai.
Aye, yeah.
Right, to start this nonprofit and come up with this application. It's amazing.
Mhm.
My son is one of your user of your application, and he will give you a couple of feedbacks of enhancements. Coming back to this topic, I know I spoke to Mr. Alderelli as well as Mr. Barker. I think we'll figure out a time to meet and address security. I think security is a concern.
Of course, yeah.
But we need to lay down what it is and see
Yep.
how we can mitigate it, right? We don't know what it is right now. So, as we discussed, let's figure out a time where we can meet and take it from there. But thank you for coming here today.
Thank you very much. Yep.
Yeah, and please, send an email to us, or at least me.
Sure,
So I
yeah.
want to find out more. So this is a website application or a phone application that you guys developed?
Yes, so currently the public version is a website. We are also working on a native mobile implementation that you can use on your phone, and we're also working on a desktop app as well. So yeah, there's multiple different things we're working on at the same time. We're also a multi-person team. I believe it's around 17 people total in our team. The development team is around 5 people, including myself. Yeah, we also have a website. It's gradescout.live. For more information about us, you could check out the website, and our contact information is there as well.
Oh, so the whole thing was developed by
Students,
our
yeah.
students.
Yep.
So I really thought that would pose a security issue to our system. And, I'm a computer science major. I'm really, proud of you guys. Maybe, we were talking about developing a software for the school to check the residency. I'm sure you guys are up to that task
Yeah,
if
sure.
we want to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could use your talent anywhere in this school.
Thank you very much.
No, I second
Thank you.
that. That's a great idea. If students can help out with that, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Mr. President?
Sure.
So first of all, I want to compliment you and your team because I was copied on many of the emails that were going back and forth between yourself and Mr. Barca, and just amazing work that you've done.
Thank you.
Disruption is the mother of innovation, and that's what you guys are currently doing right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's obstacles to those as well too. So we're looking forward to the conversation to see, how we can work with you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mr. Choi, I'll offer you one help. I'll find somebody who can independently do the research on your code and maybe give you some feedback on it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, have
Thank
a good
you.
evening.
Good job.
Nice job.
Anybody else? Crystal.
Am I recognized?
With a mask.
Thank you. I'd like to clarify some comments Mohan made. You did not bring back rebuttals. They were always there. Doug was just violating rights. That's why you didn't need to take a vote to bring them back. They were always there. Stelton property has asbestos. Many people already know that. I love you, Joe. I only came here to say what's up to you. I haven't come to any of these meetings, but I also came to have a conversation, a long overdue conversation with Doug. Right here it says, a president or vice president who refuses to perform a duty imposed upon them by law may be removed by a majority vote. That sounds beautiful in practice, but what happens when a situation like last year, that Mayor Sam Joshi's people take over the board and you don't have the quorum to do such a thing? It sounds beautiful, but it doesn't work because who stopped Doug last year from violating people's rights? He did it every single meeting. In fact, if you go back to the reorganization meeting, I'd like the lawyer to listen into what I'm about to say. If you go back to watch the reorganization meeting, Shannon had a conversation with Vice President, Mr. Romano. They were about to talk about changing the bylaws, whatever, for rebuttal, whatever. And Mr. Schneider interrupts. He said to them, oh, you don't have to do that. When you're council president, you can just do anything you want, just like he did. Well, he snitched himself out. He admitted for 1 whole year he violated the rules for not only the public speaking time, but for rebuttal. He was forcing people to give up their standard time in order to get a rebuttal time later. That's not what it says in the bylaws. That's not what it says in the rules, policies, or procedures. So, you know, like I said, this is beautiful in practice, but once that board gets overtaken by tyrants, it really doesn't matter. People like Doug just do whatever they want. That's why I would like you guys to take a no confidence vote and censure Doug. Not only did he waste thousands of dollars, and I'd like you guys to open an investigation. Did Doug Schneider waste thousands of dollars, taxpayer money, to stop one person from the public from coming to this meeting? If so, that's conspiracy to deprive a member of their rights. Not just for 1 whole year, discrimination, intimidation, humiliation, dehumanization. Nobody had anything. Brian, you had nothing to say about it. Farrell, Sheevy, Miss Virginia White, none of you guys had anything to say about it. It was basically you were enabling an abuser. You can gaslight people all you want, but at the end of the day, the laws are the laws. And he took an oath to uphold those laws, and he violated that every single time. In fact, I could have filed an Open Public Meetings Act violation for every single meeting that he violated my right. It would have forced them to come back again every meeting, and for 1 whole year, I could have actually held up the Board of Education for 1 whole year. The teachers wouldn't have cared until they figured out they're not going to get a paycheck because he wouldn't have had 1 legal meeting on the record. I chose not to do that. There's no reason to scorch the earth and to have the kids pay for Doug Schneider's and Mayor Sam Joshi's mistake. But at the end of the day, the dehumanization needs to stop, the humiliation, the violating people's civil rights. Absolutely disgusting. I'll be back up here for my rebuttal time. I missed my chance to speak on this earlier, but yeah. Doug, through the chair to Doug Schneider. Now that we get to have finally a healthy conversation about this, would you like to apologize to me? Who authorized you to waste thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money to be in a conspiracy so I can get arrested? Are you aware, Council President Shannon Peng and Council Vice President, 1 month after he spent thousands of dollars with the Bush law firm to stifle my free speech and my rights, that 1 month later, the Edison police maliciously falsified police reports against me and maliciously prosecuted me and then slandered me all over the media? Doug, did that have anything to do with you? Did that have anything to do with Mayor Bush's law firm? Was it because I recorded Tony DePascal speaking with Mayor Bush, whose law firm represents the BOE, who was giving him advice to attack certain members of the BOE? That was my Project Veritas moment. And what did they want to do? They wanted to, first they were trying to get federal charges against me for wiretapping. There was no wiretapping. There's no expectation of privacy out in the public. So what did they do next? They maliciously falsified reports. They filed fake charges against me. And the truth is going to come out. That's why it's been 1 year and I haven't went to trial yet, but it's going to be better than the Johnny Depp trials. I'm going to own them. Joe Romano, I love you. You pump me up. You pump me up. Come to my court, come to my cases, we're going to own them. God bless South Edison.
Thank you
very much.
Change that. God bless all of Edison. Thank you.
Thank you. The lady in the back with.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. This is my first time of coming back to you after I was here to beg on behalf of.
Would you mind let us know the name? Just your
Kemi
name.
Money.
Thank
I'm
you.
a resident in Edison here. This is my first time of coming here. The meeting has been back to back with the board of the Edison Council meeting. This is my first time of coming back to say thank you for everyone that supported. They supported us to fight for our library. I want to sincerely say thank you to Ms. Peck, to Joe Romano, to Jerry Shee, and Moi Patel. Thank you so much for coming into that great meeting that gave us the library back. I say thank you to everyone that gave us the opportunity, those people that speak to people on behalf of us. Thank you for saving the library for us. And I want to implore you to help us to look out for the library. I know that it's not within your jurisdiction. It should be, but I don't know how they manage to structure it. I want you to look out for that library because it's looking like the only thing we have over there. So I say thank you, and I want you to look out for the library. I really appreciate everyone, and I want to say a very big thank you to the community in Edison, in Clarabati. I love you all. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Board
You're
President,
welcome.
can I just, Joe, you want to go first?
Any
Or no?
comments? Oh,
Board President, can I say
sure.
something?
Mr. Patel.
I had the pleasure of meeting with Kemi and the rest of Clara Barton residents in regards to Clara Barton Library. You are amazing for standing up for what is right and what needs to be done as residents. Whenever you are faced with anything that happens negatively that impacts your livelihood and your presence there, right? You did an amazing job. I just want to thank you, Kemi. You did an amazing job. And the rest of the Clara Barton residents, too, for standing up for the library. That shouldn't have never been on the radar for the township to go over and after. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to add, when it comes to the things that matters to in this town, matters to every resident. I don't think it matters whose jurisdiction that is. I think every resident should have the right to speak up. Thank you. The lady, sorry, Venkat, the lady first.
Good evening. My name's Jean Crystal. I'm a resident here for about 36 years. I put 2 kids through all the Edison school system, and now I'm raising my granddaughter. Currently, she's in the ACES program. I don't know if everyone knows what that is, but it stands for Academic Core for Education Success. And what they do is they interview kids that are in 7th grade. They're not AP level, but they're a little bit above, and they put them in this program called ACES. Last week, I went to the open house for Edison High School, very impressed. I went on a tour, and one of the tour guides was actually an ACES student who was a senior, and she touted how well it was and how she learned to write college essays and apply for scholarships and things of that nature. And the last thing she said to our group was, if your child's in ACES, don't take them out. Went home, I felt wonderful, felt this is gonna be a great opportunity for her. The next day, I get a letter from a Kristen Teos, if I mispronounced her name, I'm sorry, telling us.
Ma'am, just say that you got a letter. Don't say you got a letter from somebody.
Oh, I thought it was official.
Ma'am, you can't say anybody unless we make it's a Rice thing.
Okay. It's the
Just
first
say
time I hear it.
I know.
Bear with
I'm
me, 36 years, my first time I'm here.
That's quite all right. I'm just trying to, I don't want anybody getting upset.
Okay.
Thank you.
I got a letter saying that they are dismantling the program. And the reason was, it's based on the goals and the priorities of the district. That was the reason. For me, that's not a reason.
Can you please repeat what the letter said?
The letter said, the reason given for dismantling the program, it was under consideration, and it was based on the goals and the priorities of the district.
Thank you.
Thank you, you're welcome. What does that mean?
We'll find that out.
Okay.
You have my word on it.
Okay. The next day was Hoover's parent-teacher conference. ACE's teacher didn't even know about it. They found out about it at the same time as the parents. What kind of communication is that? I wrote a letter. I did get a response, and some of the things that were said to me were that they surveyed some of the children, some of the kids that were in high school, and some of the children said it was not beneficial to them. But some it was. So I'm asking what that percentage was. Were the parents involved? And I really would like to know the reason it's going to be dismantled. I have signatures from 80% of the parents in Herbert Hoover. I don't know what other schools participate that are also not happy about the situation. And we're asking if we could possibly have a meeting with whoever the members were that decided that this program was not worthwhile. And hopefully we can come to some kind of amicable solution. We have a lot of classes for AP kids. We have extra credit for them. The middle of the road kids get nothing. I've seen it. I've seen it from the time my kids were small. They get nothing. They don't get anything extra. This is the one thing they got extra. Why are they getting rid of the program? So I'm asking if it's possible we could have some kind of meeting with whomever decided that this was not a good program. And if it's not good, can't we tweak it? Can't we adjust the schedules, adjust it to make it, and maybe get more kids involved? Thank you for your consideration.
Absolutely, and thank you for your time. Before you leave today, maybe if I could ask Dr. Tui if we could maybe get your information to set up that meeting. I can assure you that I understand what you're saying. We're going to make sure that we provide opportunities for those students in the same capacity, right? The opportunity to meet with counselors, to go on trips, to assist in resume writing, all of those people. Yeah, I'm with you. We need to think outside the box.
Maybe just needs tweaked a little bit.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I thank you for your time and your comment. And we'll definitely set that up. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The lady, Beth, I think.
Hi, Beth Talke, Edison, New Jersey. Welcome to all the new members up there. I have not been present for a couple of months, but I do watch every month what's going on. Number one, I think Vishal Patel, is that how you say your name? When you brought up about the new cricket intramurals, great to add another program to our middle schools, but everybody should be included. It should be inclusive to both any gender whatsoever. We have Title IX. It should be open to all. I've noticed in town most of our cricket leagues are predominantly male, but if it's going to be in our schools, it should be open to all, as our ice hockey teams have been, football teams, lacrosse, throughout the years, cheerleading, you name it, they've all been co-ed. Should be open for all and available for all. Now I have a couple points, kind of mishmash of thoughts as I'm sitting here. We're always talking about Lutheran, about Stelton School and that area. We've owned the Lutheran church across from Menlo Park School for a couple of years now. What is the status on that? What are we going to use it for? We've been paying for it. Has any thought or, studies or money gone into that to see what we can do with that land and that building? Number one, tomorrow is March 1st. We're a couple hours away. Do we have a calendar yet for next year, school year? That's a big one. It affects families. It affects staff members. So we kind of need to get going on that. And my last question is, do we still have the diversity and inclusion officer in school? Because there's been very little coming out from that this year, which, should be. It's important. Thank you, if you can answer my questions for me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Board President?
Yeah, sure, Dr. Ederle.
Yeah, great. We definitely still do have our diversity, equity, and inclusion officer that works hand in hand with both of our chief academic officers. So maybe a lot of the information that comes out might be subtle in its approach, because we do try to embed it in the curriculum. That officer also works hand in hand with the Office of Human Resources well, too, and not only our screening process, but also provides opportunities to develop strategic partnerships with our universities so that we are selecting a candidate pool that's representative of our community. We do have, I believe they're quarterly updates from the diversity officer that highlights all the great things that are going on there. And as we, which are funneled out through the community, I believe the last one probably went out in the fall. There's probably one due coming up in the beginning of the spring right now. And as we're constantly evolving, we were one of the first in the area to develop a position like this. So we're always looking for new and innovative ways to just expand on that processes. So we'll make sure that that voice is heard loud and clear. School calendar, we are working on that currently. We're going to look to put it on for next meeting. We're just making a couple tweaks. I completely understand what you're saying. Usually I believe in past traditions, it's been on this Board of Education agenda in February. It's been approved February, somewhere so we're just about a month behind. I totally understand what you're saying. We're trying to fine tune a couple of those pieces and work through it. And we obviously have to have those conversations not only with the Board of Education, but also with the heads of our collective bargaining units as well.
Ms. President, can I make a comment?
Mr. Patel.
To answer your question on cricket, I point noted, as Mr. Brian Rivera also pointed out, it will include both boys and girls, whoever is interested into it. So, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Board President,
Yeah,
if I
Mr.
could end. So the point you brought up about the church, that is going to be on our next agenda item too. So we're going to talk about it with our committee, and that space is specifically bought because we have overcrowding issues. We're going to fix that up too. So look forward to good things to come out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? The lady in the back. Yeah. Venkat, you have to wait.
Ladies first, Venkat.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Rowe. I have a daughter here at sophomore. I am also involved with the ACES program. My older daughter graduated in 21. She was a part of it. She loved it. She is actually in college now out in St. Pete, Florida. She was able to do a study abroad program. She went to Honduras in January for a week. I think it's an awesome program. I fought for my sophomore to be in it this year. In 7th grade, she was not asked to join, but I knew about it, so I fought to have her have the interview and the essay wrote to get involved in it. She did get approved, and she has been involved in it. I am not very much okay with you dismantling it. I do think it's a great program, especially for the junior year to when they go through the essay questions and all of that of the college applications. It also helps them with the applications and also with the resumes and all that stuff. I'm hoping that it gets brought back. I do have 6 years, almost 6 years of evidence that all of this stuff is not taught at the English level in the classrooms. I'm hoping that changes if this does go away. But other than that, I'm not really much impressed with the board or of the school system. I did have to have my daughter go into Kumon to sit here and get brought up to speed because she did fail math in 3rd grade, and Kumon put her at a kindergarten level of math and reading. So I did have her tested, and they actually tested her at her age to where she was not allowed to get extra help. So unfortunately, I'm not very pleased with how the system is because she was tested one-on-one, not in a classroom setting. So where she wasn't up to speed to where she was at. She Christmas time, she could barely do 2 + 2 at 3rd grade, and you guys just kept passing her through. By a year later, she was doing more than better than 9 times 9 in all of the times tables because of Kuma, not because of the school system. I'm hoping that this does improve a little bit better. I do still have a 4th grader, and I'm hoping to where I'm not displeased with the way Edison Township goes through this anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you also receive a letter
Yes.
to dismantle the program? Okay.
I received the letter, and also my daughter had Miss Diane and Miss Rotella in her classroom stating that it was being dismantled and that they were keeping the same guidance counselor that, I'm sorry, has not really actually helped with her in much of any kind of capacity. And also Miss Diane didn't help with the Middlesex County College application either. And my
President.
daughter is involved in that as well.
So I appreciate your comments. We're obviously going to continue this conversation, so if you would like to be a part of it, we'll definitely make sure. And I don't know the specific circumstances with your children that you were talking about with regards to not only math and the assistance that's provided, but we are in a service industry. We do hope to change your mindset on that. We're committed to that. I would definitely encourage you, if you haven't done so already, work with your building principal. Let's talk after the meeting if you're going to hang around. I'd love to.
I have to be at work at 5 in the morning, so.
Well, then you
this
should
is
go
like-
to sleep then, and you should email me. How does that sound?
This is absolutely like really late for me.
Yeah.
I'm, like falling asleep at the chairs.
I get it. So do me a favor. Yeah, I will make sure before you leave today.
Mr.
one of
Ross
the
has my information.
Well, then he's going to give it to me, and we'll spark up a conversation and go home and get rest. 5 a.m. start.
Have a great
And
one.
feel free to email the board, for this issue. Obviously, I'm not aware of this shutdown of the program. I don't know if the other board member are aware of, but we're definitely going to look into this. All right, Venkat, your turn.
Good evening. So,
We
I have to say this.
We save the best for the last.
Thank you. I didn't want to bring the equality. I also come from a culture that ladies first. So I completely agree. And in fact, I'm proud that we are, led by Madam President Peng. So, Mr. Romano, I have to admit this. I love you, the way that you speak. I may not agree with you all the time, sir, but the passion at which that you bring, and I think you were missed last year. Had you been there in the last year, at least a lot of mess that last year board created would have been prevented. So, thank you for being in supporting to the students more than the parents. So, first of all, thanks to Joe Romano and Moin Patel for visiting John Adams. My daughter goes to that school, and they were talking very high about you. So they need around, 3 minimum rooms to address the overcrowding. And you guys said that you will try it. So I hope you guys will put your best foot forward to support those 3 rooms, which is not brand new, repurposing some of those locker rooms. I truly appreciate, and I also thank Jerry for actually mentioning that in his meeting. So hopefully looking forward to get those 3 rooms, because last 5 years I'm coming here but never asked for John Adams till today. But that is the most crowded middle school. So we are not asking teachers, we are not asking any additional things. We are asking you 3 rooms. Okay, truly appreciate that. And I think last year, our principal has asked around 10 cameras. The reason why I want to bring this up now is couple of parents brought it, and many parents agreed in my social media group that TJMS, there are a lot of bullying and a lot of harassment happening. And the number of cases, complaints has reduced because they were scared that principal was empowered. And our former president, kids who also studied there, but nothing improved in TJMS. And I request Dr. Aldrali to put a committee that not having complaints doesn't mean that there are no issues. So now coming back to John Adams' most crowded school, how much time it takes to contagious from other schools to this school. So we want those 10 cameras. I hope the finance committee will fund those. It's been requested 1 year back. Maybe Biral should be blamed. Biral, why did you not give them? So I just wanted those 10 cameras to be installed to just create the audit and the fear and caution to the kids that there are cameras that are monitoring them. So it's for the kids' safety. The next one is I have to really thank Vishal and the curriculum committee for spending 3 meetings in a month and discussing long hours. And I'm not saying it's easy discussion because the last year curriculum committee made a huge mess and pushed us 2 years back. And thanks to the BOE leadership, including Gail and the middle school principals working with you guys and making sure that you guys are getting some programs. If not AB program, anything else. But we definitely have to fix that gap. If not biology second one, at least bring those biology second last, because without labs, we are not competing ourselves. We are not giving an opportunity for other kids. Then yesterday I got an email from the high school that my kid will be able to select one elective next year, but she has to choose 5 options. So are you telling me that if I don't like art, music, then video, then you're going to give me computer science or something else? It's a shame. Can you please reduce it to 3? What percentage of people gets option 1? What percentage of people gets option 2? When the same thing happened, Dr. Valentine in JAMS told me that, Venkat, I assure you one thing, either your daughter will get her first choice, for some reason, if I find a better kid than the first choice, I'll give you second choice. That's how in the John Adams Middle School, we got our electives. But for high school, that I have to choose 5 options to get 1 elective, can you imagine that you guys are not given an option 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you guys are given 5? How do you guys feel it? We are not second-graded or third-rated citizens. The students deserve the first option or second option. Please work with the high school principals and make sure that kids get either first or second choice. I understand second choice, but not 3, 4, and 5. Sorry for that one, and I'm sure that Dr. Alderley, you know the pain of the kids if they don't get their first or second choice. And I'm telling you, if I don't get the second choice, the kid will say that I'm not going to go to school because there is no fun in the school. So, and the computer science elective, I think, Madam President, you have seen some of the social media comments that why do we need a Java as a prerequisite for computer science AP? Computer science AP is nothing but Java. I brought it up last year. Last year board was deaf, they didn't hear it. And this year again they put it. When computer science AB, my son took it, AP, he didn't know Java. We taught him in 2 months and he passed the exam with flying colors. So why are we actually creating and causing? Is it because we didn't have enough rooms, enough teachers? But maybe something, but there is no point of having a Python, Java as a requisite for the AP. Worst case, you can actually learn Java and take the AP exam at the end of the year, and it's a year course. Then, I don't want to get into the township politics, but there are some stupid meeting happened at the township level that mayor has announced that there is a school that is announced at Talmadge Road, and he's claiming that last year they got $10 million. I think, he's trying to step over toes. I think use your attorney and ask him to do a temporary restraining order, keep his mouth shut. Hell yeah. He should not talk about BOE. And you guys didn't even get an opportunity to talk in the council when you guys went there. Please don't give them the preference. Either council people or councilwoman comes here, ask them to stand in the line. Because they don't reciprocate the same respect for you guys. I like this attorney, not because, he's dignified. He only helping you when you guys have questions. But that attorney in the council is bullying every public and scaring everybody. And the last one, his election promise of cable, I know that day one he's not going to deliver it. Now he's telling that, somebody else is going to come, Comcast. Now he's going to put a legal dispute, and next 10 years, you will not get optimum or anything. So he's playing the game, and he's stepping on your toes. Send a legal letter to him, refrain himself not to make your statements of the schools on behalf of you. You guys are the ultimate authority. He has 0 power to make any statements about BOE. And he will still say that, I spoke to the previous board leadership. And I think he's still in the illusion today called somebody that, board president and board vice president. He doesn't even know that new board has taken over. And Jerry, I just want to say this. You don't have to answer the questions that Doug is asking you. He wasted a lot of money. He didn't respond to the public. He didn't do any shit. Sorry for my cursing word. He didn't do anything except gifting some $1 million for the principal of TJMS because his kids goes there and they get preferential treatment. $15 million, that money, this money. What did he do with that money last year? Sat for 6 months with no meetings. And is it something that he wants to show off and we have to wait for 30 minutes for his questioning? Last year, people didn't come. And this year, we are coming here. We are trying to address. Vishal, kudos to you, new guy, never been part of the board, working with all the people. And that's what we want, a curriculum leader. So, and Vishal, I just want to add that from the cricket perspective, there is already a co-ed team that runs in Edison. My daughter's friends, they already play with the boys. So if you want, I can show that. I think schools will love it. Let's expand that to the girls as well and make a team. If you have separate teams, fine. If not, then co-ed is also equally good. So, and last but not least, Mo, I really like the things that you guys have done. No barricades, no police outside, not having security guards, not bullying, not intimidating, and not spending the time with the lawyers. I hope our lawyer won't charge a single penny to give an advice where it is not needed. So I hope you guys will continue to deliver the value. In 2 months, I see 10 plus things that you guys have delivered from the community perspective. And 2 months, I have seen the curriculum committee in 1 month, 3 meetings, long hours. I'm not expecting to restore the AB schedule back, but bring a better compromise to help our students, if not the better. So, and we have an excellent superintendent in charge, and we have a great lawyer. I hope you guys will deliver and get everybody, all 9 of you, will help the students to get what they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat. About the AB schedule, we are working on it, and I'm very happy that since the curriculum committee being set up 6 weeks ago, I think we achieved a lot in that 6 weeks so far, and we're just fine. I guarantee you, we're going to be hearing more about the AP schedule in next meeting. I think we're reaching a very creative solution for that, and thank you, Dr. Adarelli, and thank you for our academic officers. For being so creative and working so hard for this new solution. And then we're going to hopefully present in our next meeting, and it's going to be better than the AB schedule. The Java Python program thing, I'm a computer science programmer. We brought this prerequisite issue last year several times. I think Mr. Jerry, she and me actually mentioned it a couple of times that, Java Python shouldn't be any prerequisite for each other or for the AP computer science classes. It's like you have to learn like French before taking Spanish. It's totally irrelevant. It's just different semantics, different languages. The 5 choices for elective, I think, I'm hoping that most students would get their first or second, but yeah.
Yeah, no, great points. And as you know, Venkat, there's a lot of moving parts to those schedules, right? Don't quote me on the percentage, but I do believe it's above 90% of students are granted their first choice. I believe Ms. Polakowski could probably correct me on that number. Close enough? Perfect. So we definitely try to make those accommodations. And again, a lot of it is contingent upon, the other factors that go into a child's schedule, but we definitely make sure that we try to accommodate, especially their first elective, because as you said, that's their choice, that's something that they're passionate about. We want to make sure we accommodate that.
Maybe we can reduce it to 3, like instead of scare the parents, like they're going to get their 5th choice, and make everybody's job easier. If we most likely would give.
Definitely look into that.
Too. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Madam President.
Yeah, Mr. Shi.
So, Venkat, you mentioned AB multiple times. It's going to be better than AB. Just stay tuned. I don't want to steal the thunder from Gail, and she's going to present something that's much better at the next meeting. And just about the cricket, the co-ed, we actually had competitions before between elementary schools and the 2 high schools. We had, a JP versus Edison High. And in the elementary school, I think we had a James Madison versus, I think, Menlo. It's all co-ed. So, you know, just to keep the record straight. And also for, you know, Beth, you mentioned about we're late for the calendar. And looking at the calendar right now, the adopting date was March 23rd, 2020, so it's March. So we're in February. So we're ahead, a little bit ahead of schedule, okay? We're not behind. Thank you.
Board President,
And,
if I may, thank you for mentioning what you did, and I agree with you. You know what, sometimes passion gets involved and they like to talk before anything's done, which is what Sam is doing. I understand that he wants to put the apple before the cart, or the horse before the cart, or the carrot, whatever it is that he's offering everyone. So I want to thank you for bringing it up.
And the cameras in John Adams, I'm sure we can do something about that.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
10 cameras.
Yeah.
Safety is the, number one
Yeah,
issue.
and like, with anything, it's a two-prong approach, right? It's promoting social behavior amongst everybody as well, too, right? And at the same time, supervising that. So we get it.
And trust us, when we say safety and security are the, priority of our school. Beth?
One question about the electives. Back in the days when I went to school here, we had to have 4 choices back then. And based on upperclassmen got first choice, then it went down like seniors, juniors, sophomores, and then freshmen. So that way, if you didn't get it the first year that you wanted it, you had the opportunity the next year. And within those 4, you were guaranteed at least one of them. Do we still, to this day, is it based on like seniority? Kind of like, because I get it, the schools are so overcrowded, not everybody is going to get what they want. It's just a numbers game and it's not going to happen. So are we doing it based on a seniority level so that
I do believe that process is still in place, yes. Yep.
Okay, they can. And, I'd love to see every child get what they want.
We try to.
And we try. But in the scope of life, if that's your biggest disappointment, I hope that's the worst thing that happens to you. Also, Jerry's not here. I'm just wondering on the adoption of the calendar that was done in March. Was that the first reading or was that the final, Jerry?
It says adopted.
Okay, so it was adopted, so we had the readings prior to that, just to clarify, right?
That's a caucus meeting before it got adopted.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. No, and I didn't mean it was late. I just mean it was getting, it's getting late. I didn't say it was late. Semantics. Thanks.
Semantics, yeah.
But thanks, I appreciate what you do.
All right, thank you.
Crystal?
I just want to ask, please don't say my name because it's doxing. I might want to go by the name George Orwell or Thomas Paine. Thank you. So, my time? Okay. I don't understand, lawyer, I don't understand all that time wasting Mayor Sam Joshi did with the Clara Barton Library. I believe he was trying to get his wife a $200,000 a year paycheck. But at the end of the day, you're the lawyer for the Board of Education. I believe, that there's a case law coming out of Patterson that says you cannot separate the special needs kids from the rest of everyone else. And at the end of the day, it's not the township's job to provide services for special needs people. I'd like you guys to address that. Another question I have that Doug Schneider has ran away from for over a year, is he related to Ari Schneider from the Bush law firm? Does he refuse to answer that question because he refused to fill out his financial disclosure form and did not put Ari Schneider's name out? You've been asked the same question for over a year. You say you're not related to everyone else, but you conveniently don't answer that. You could answer that right now. Are you related to Ari Schneider? Is that a yes or a no? Okay. Lawyer, I'm going to work on my cross-examining skills for when I defeat Edison in the court. But at the end of the day, when I did record Tony DePascal, phony Tony DePascal, texting the Metuchen mayor and his law firm, not only was he making threatening statements saying Venkata's here, Venkata's doing this, Christo's doing that. He was also texting Burrell, Brian, and Doug. It could be seen. Is that what you guys do during Board of Education meetings? Text people out in the audience and give them advice how to better attack Jerry, Shannon, and others? Because if you guys go back to the video, Phony Tony is actually bragging to Mayor Bush that Jerry Shee called him out for, what did you call him out for? Giving out confidential information. And he, right there, he was, there you go. In regards to the Silver Lake property, once again, Sam Joshi is doing more mortgage fraud, more loan frauds. The town could have bought that property, pennies on the dollar. Instead, he goes to the newspaper, announces he wants that property, creates bidders, and then we end up having to pay 10 times more than the property's actually worth. You'll never, when you go to sell the property, you'll never get that amount back. And then when you go to see who are the people giving them this loan, it's BCB Bank, Coughlin Law Firm's bank. The same BCB Bank, remember how he wanted to remove people from the library board because you guys refused to hand over money to BCB Bank, which was not even an authorized vendor of the township? I hope we can all recall that. And the last point I want to make, I think we all figured out what happened with the racist flyers. I think we all figured out that it was Mayor Sam Joshi and Bob Deal that they set up Jerry Shee for the simple fact they were hoping when Jerry Shee got elected that Jerry would make Deal superintendent. He refused to do that. What did Doug want to do last year? He wanted to make Deal superintendent. It is my opinion that Mayor Sam Joshi and Bob Deal created the racist flyers in order to attack their opponents while at the same time trying to give themselves a job. I find that very disgraceful. We spent over 5 years character assassinating each other in this town. And shame on Mayor Sam Joshi. Jerry, I'd like you to say something about that. Did you not come to town council meeting with a recording between Bob Deal and AJ Patil about Bob Deal wanted to make himself superintendent, and then when you came to the podium to try to play that, they violated your civil rights. They were so scared of you making that video public that they had you removed. Do you not recall that, Jerry? Do you remember that day? It's a yes or no.
Finish all your questions.
Okay. I would like Mayor Sam Joshi investigated. I want you to know that Mayor Sam Joshi's companies are providing financial loans to South Asians and South Asians only. He was a part of the Quicken Loan scandal. And then when they're done getting their education here in America, they go back to India or Pakistan. They end up defaulting on their loans, and then the American taxpayers have to foot the bill. This is who you voted for, Mayor Sam Joshi, financial fraud artist, a scam artist, loan fraud. And when you look to see who his partner is, Dadia, for the SD Capital, he made his sister the judge. And not only that, when you have your own company, you're not supposed to be on the board of directors. That's a conflict of interest. Why is he a vice president in his own company? And also, I'd like to add this. His one company registered as a foreign agent. Did Mayor Sam Joshi register himself as a foreign agent when he became mayor? Did he advise? He's possibly breaking the Logan Act right now. Attorney, if you have companies, okay, such as Sam Joshi, and he's doing all these business dealings with India, Pakistan, everywhere else for his loan frauds, shouldn't he have registered himself as a foreign agent when he became mayor?
Crystal, it's a school board meeting.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Well, God bless America. And I just want to say they removed the American flag to the side because it had a gold fringe on it. And to have the gold fringe means maritime law, the law of the sea. I will never pledge allegiance to that flag because it has the gold fringe. Here on American soil, you cannot have the gold fringe. It has to just be the regular American flag. Because here, the law of the land takes precedence over the law of the sea. The Constitution takes precedence over the law of the sea. And I want the lawyer to know this. Why do we have a military flag? Why are we taking allegiance to a military flag, a maritime flag, rather than the United States flag that represents the United States Constitution and the law of the land? Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Venkat?
Sorry, it will be short. Dr. Aldrali, I hope, we can take a ETC for those 10 cameras, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. So I will follow up with an email if you don't mind.
Please do. Please do.
Thank you. And the second thing that I have is to talk about the electives. I think, Dr. Aldrali, the people who work in your school district needs to be educated a little bit. The reason why I don't agree with those senior, junior, and everything, because there is a computer science, if you have a startup level, then AP. Then if my daughter is taking an art, she's going to take art 1-on-1, then visual arts 1-on-1, then take visual arts 2, then she takes AP. Just because some senior want to do the art 1-on-1 as a beginner, if my daughter is not going to be given an opportunity, that means you're taking away of doing the AP for my daughter. Same thing with music. A guy spends 8 years in the elementary and middle school to do the music, just because somebody in the senior wanted to start trying the music, so you're going to prevent them. I think all I'm trying to say that is, there is a method to this madness. Yes, you still need to respect the seniority, but at the same time, when a middle schooler is coming to the high school with completing 4 years to go to the AP level and to get some recognition in the college level, we need to accommodate that as well. If a senior is sitting at 9th and 10th, oh, I want to try art now, I want to try music now, then he's not going to be a master, he or she is not going to be a master by the time senior. Are you going to punish middle schoolers because some seniors and juniors wanted to take it? I hope if you can educate your own staff first, then I'll be more happy to not bring here. But I'm certainly looking for art till the AP. So if I don't get the art major, art priority, that because art is full, then she has to take music, which she didn't practice. You are not only doing injustice to my daughter, you're taking away somebody else who is asking for in line for music. I hope there is a method to this madness from your side. And last, I had a great respect for women elected officials. I used to like Fal in the past. Shannon, you know that how much I respected you. I also had a great respect for Margot. I want to make a call to Margot from this place, that I was not happy with the way she conducted herself when her own attorney stopped a woman BOE president coming and talking. I hope Margot will make a note and she will correct it. If she doesn't fix it, she will lose respect in the society soon. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat. Anybody else? Motion to end the public comments?
Motion.
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 All right.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting
Good
adjourned.
night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.